Hello and
Hello.
welcome. We are here live and ready to go with the latest of the Low Kick Online series. This time around, we've got an arms bracket. I am Aleve. Joining me today will be Spenjo at the mic. And we're here
Yo.
to present to you some very exciting and epic arms content. Spenjo, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited for this. And thank you to Low Kick for hosting ARMS.
Yeah, huge shout out to them. Much love, much appreciation. Just a reminder for everybody who is interested as well, if you enter in that Matcherino command, we are currently trying to raise money for these participants so that they might have a little bit of money to be walking away with for whoever takes this tournament. Looks like we're just about set up and ready to go as well, so we can probably get starting pretty soon. We've got our first match. Steelhead will be facing off against Pigman Slayer. Spenja, how much do you know about these players?
I know that Slayer plays Ribbon Girl and Steel plays Max Brass. I haven't played Steel that much, but Slayer I've recently been getting in tournaments a lot, so I know quite a bit.
Yeah, Slayer definitely a really solid Pikmin, a very solid Ribbon player. Has been making some good effort, some good progress over the last few months while participating in brackets. And of course, anybody who knows ARMS knows Steelhead to at least some manner. He is the NA Brass, the defensive wall, and probably one of the best players in North America. Coming in with Nade and Hydra, two solid picks to play against a Ribbon Girl, and then Slayer going in with the Popper, Slapamander, two default arms for Ribbon Girl, but they're some of the best arms in this game, and definitely looking to make some work with it.
Yeah, Steel obviously knowing that Hydra is Ribbon's biggest enemy. And Steel also going with this trusty Nade.
Yeah, the Nade has a lot of good vertical alignment, no tracking to it, which means that Steel has full control over how he's lining up and positioning those shots, which for Ribbon, who has really sporadic movement and can quickly dash side to side, it's really nice to have a tool that can allow you to line up your shots effectively. And then, yeah, the Hydra is just a solid vertical counter. You can see right there, 3 very tall pronged shots, just each one coming out after Slayer. And if Slayer is just not careful, gets right out a little too easily, it's going to easily score 80, 110 damage and continue to deepen this lead for Steel. Starting things off,
Slayer with Rush.
Pikmin Slayer is ready with Rush. Steel quickly building another one up and has his ready, holding on to a 25% health lead. And he's going to even make that even bigger with the successful grab, buffing himself up, giving himself perma armor, and just making himself a little bit more threatening for Slayer to work against.
Yeah, Slayer doesn't really want to jump while Steel has Rush because that Rush always just knocks him out of the air, which is a big deal for a Ribbon Girl who can't jump. I don't think Slayer is used to playing a grounded Ribbon, but Steel's pressure, especially with Rush, is just enormous. So Slayer really has to adapt to playing a more grounded Ribbon. Slayer switching to Toaster, which is probably the smart decision.
It's definitely going to help out a little bit. Can potentially mean that it's easier for Steel to be deflecting that Toaster or box it out, where the Popper was those multi-pronged shots. A little bit more widespread to help it contend with that Hydra and slip around the Nade. While the Toaster will help with boxing against the Nade, Ribbon Girl's small girth size might mean that we're going to see some Hydra shots slip by regardless. And we're already seeing like that Toaster can do some good work, but Slayer currently at health deficit, looking to try to bring this ground back. Good opportunity if they can just get close enough and line up that Rush.
Yeah, Steel, they both have Rush, but Steel with pretty sizable health lead. Slayer taking a little bit more risk with jumping, knowing that they kind of need to play more risky in order to win this. But that grab will take it from Steel.
Yeah, there's not much that Slayer's going to be able to do to stop that grab once it's connected. If they were ready with the deflect, I could have seen them potentially break that out, but unfortunately for them, they just weren't ready. And with that, Slayer going to be losing that first set. Steel now at match advantage, going to be throwing out a couple of stage bans. Wondering where Pikmin is probably going to be looking to go. I'm definitely anticipating something like if Scrapyard isn't banned, we're looking at somewhere a little bit larger, a lot more elevation. Pillars can definitely help them out as it just gives them a lot more room to be able to move around, get into positions that are more optimal, and worry less about that Hydra.
Yeah, I know from experience that Slayer will definitely jump at the moment, jump right to Scrap if it's available. So I think it would be smart of Steel to ban it.
Something that's really difficult for Ribbon Girl in a lot of matchups, especially when players are coming in with hard counters to her vertical movement. And you saw a lot there where, like you said before, Ribbon Girl struggles on the ground. But it's really important for a Ribbon Girl main to know how to play grounded, because otherwise you might not even get the chance to get in the air anymore then. If you're just like a lot of other players like Max Brass, Min, Springtron, if they don't know how to play in their disadvantaged or neutral state, they're not going to have the chance to even buff up or get into their advantage state and start properly playing their character. So that might be something that we'll see Slayer struggle with coming forward into this next one, unless they find a way to force Steel back, create a little bit more room, and get that opportunity ready to be able to start soaring through the skies. And heading in, it looks like we've got a couple of nice picks coming in on Slayer's end. We've got the Scully and the Roaster. Both might be really good picks in allowing that to open up.
Yeah, those quick pokes from the Scully could definitely do some slow but sure damage over the course of the match against Max Brass.
The one disadvantage to the Scully, though, especially with Ribbon Girl, who doesn't have incredible movement on the ground, is if Steel just punches through it, it does recover really quickly, but he can still just punch straight through it and connect on Slayer's face and impact with a lot of heavy damage, especially against things like Hydra. It will barely keep up with those arms. So it's all about finding a way around Steel's attacks, his pressure, to be able to get this damage in, and we are not seeing that right now. Pikmin struggling to find a chance to get some ground, and Steel just calling them out like a book.
Yeah, Slayer may look like he's more aerial than most players, but I know from experience that he's definitely a lot more grounded than usual. He really loves to jump, so it's very interesting to see how Steel can kind of shut him down with his aggressiveness and that Hydra. Both are at rush, but Slayer's really going to need a comeback, do something special in there, bring it back, but...
And there is no way, there is no chance for a comeback going in here.
That grab just shut him down. It was a smart decision on both players' part to keep rush, since there was no hope for Slayer.
Indeed. And we are going to see it. I definitely like this change. The Roaster is a really solid pick. I can see the Slap-O-Mander working as well. Slap being one of the really good picks to kind of counteract Brass. Just being able to catch his dash movements, him having such a large body, charged or uncharged. It can be really easy to snipe him down, and it's going to help Pikmin out with those grabs. Slap-O-Mander, while it's got a little bit smaller range on its grab range, it's the fastest in this game. Coupled up with that Scully, you saw how fast that grab came out. Steel barely has any time to react, and with the help from that grab opportunity, it has given Slayer a little bit more ground. But they're quickly losing that ground, and Steel now looking for a KO opportunity with this rush. Successful block going in for Slayer keeps them just barely alive. We are looking at a grab or charged nade to take Slayer out.
Yeah, but that jump to grab, that could definitely do some damage on Slayer's part.
And we're gonna see
There we
that
go.
damage.
And he has rush as well, so you never know. Oh, and there you go. Slayer usually does that to me quite frequently, and I have seen it work on many other competitive players. Ribbon's jump mobility, and on top of the grab, just to really throw some players off. As you could see, Steel got grabbed 3 times in a row there to take the match.
Indeed.
Now it's really any player's game right here. Slayer with Rush, we know Steel could always bring this back, especially with comeback mode on Max Brass. But that grab is lethal.
It definitely can be. A lot of it is just because of how fast this is coming out. That all Slayer needs to do is utilize Ribbon Girl's really solid jump right out of the way of one punch, and unless Steel can anticipate and line up a second punch or use the rush to counteract it, he's gonna get grabbed. And that's that's most of what Slayer's damage has been between these exchanges, and you can see Steel's actually starting to back up a little bit more to try to set up for a little bit more room to try to play around it, and he's going to be able to successfully call out that rush attempt. Now just looking one more hit to take Slayer out. And Slayer just holding on to the ropes, desperately trying to find these small windows, still throwing out a lot of these quick grabs. And just hoping that a couple more of them will stick it out. And unfortunately, we're not seeing that. Steel will be slaying the Pikmin Slayer and will be advancing 2-0 to face off against his next opponent, Tiojo. Updates on some of the other side. On the other ends of bracket, we do have Tiojo taking Jelly Pop down 2-0, utilizing what looks like Bite and Bark, which is a very exciting thing to see. You don't see that robotic duo too often, and especially taking down a Helix. Otherwise, we had Hanukkah taking Flesh Eater out 2-0, and Mario taking Reister down 2-0. Those two will be duking it out right away. I believe that's also going to be our next streamed match. Yeah, that's what I said that. Yeah, I read it. I'm smart. I know how to read. I've read books in my life. Books are nice. Benja, do you like books?
No, I like ARMS.
I'm sorry to hear that. Books are also nice. ARMS is nice. It is very nice. But don't forget to read books. They can be very, very informative and very useful. And there's a lot of fun things out there, especially if it's an ARMS comic that never came out.
Yeah, still waiting on that.
One of these days. So let's move over and talk about our next players, Hanukkah, Jamboree, and Mario. I'm sure a lot of people here already know about Hanukkah. Fabulous Twintel player. Tio organizes and runs a lot for the STL community. And then we've got, on the other side, Mario, the comeback kid. Likely going to be stepping into the ring with his Springman. Does have a couple of... Yes, with his Mario. Springman is the Mario of ARMS, so it's fair.
Basically.
He's been improving a lot recently with some pretty solid results coming in from a handful of a handful of events. No, this is definitely going to be a really tough matchup for him.
I always tell him, it seems like he's been around forever, but he really only started playing tournaments, early 2020, maybe January or February, but he has improved at a very rapid pace. He told me earlier today he beat Resolve, which is definitely a feat only a select number of players could say. So he's definitely a formidable opponent.
Something that a lot of people don't understand or aren't fully aware of with ARMS, especially because it's not as technically demanding. You don't have to know 15 different well, not everything needs 15 different combos, but you don't need to know a solid collection of combos like something like Guilty Gear or Unist. you can kind of just come in and it's just learning stuff. It's just learning matchups. It's learning how to respond to said matchups. It's learning how to play neutral. Once you've learned how to play neutral, you kind of learn how to play the game, and you can just do whatever you want from there.
Yeah, Nintendo doesn't seem to like traditional fighting games in the sense that they're very beginner friendly. We see that in Smash, we see that in ARMS, even Pokken is a very beginner friendly fighting game, even though it's more traditionally focused. But getting into this next match,
that doesn't stop these games from being complicated, though, and we might be seeing some of that coming in here, as Mario actually going to be choosing to go in with the Masango, likely already aware that this is a difficult matchup for Springman. The Masango Twintel matchup is not as well planned or well understood or really calculated as the Springman Twintel, so likely he's hoping that this is a better matchup. We are not seeing that right now, as Hanukkah just quickly stomping him down, has him at critical health, and is just looking for one simple trade. And with that Tri-Blast, it's going to be a really dicey space for him to be able to move. And we're going to see exactly that as he locks himself into place equipping that mask. And the Tri-Blast going to snipe him down.
yeah, quick 30-second match. But, you know, Mario could always bring it back. It looked like he was about to near the end, but he was on Magic Pixel. That red mask is coming into play against that Shock Room.
It will definitely help out in the regard that he gets armor now. It makes him a little bit slower, a little bit easier of a target to be able to poke. But he has the armor, which means he can just kind of trade, and Hanukkah needs 2 or 3 hits to equal a single one of Mario's at the moment. And we are seeing those results kind of rolling in. Mario holding on to a lead and just keeping up a steady boxing rate, and Hanukkah struggling to keep up against it. Nice.
Yeah, Mario obviously getting his footing really, really quickly. It honestly seemed almost like a domination at the beginning of that first match, but Mario pulling it back really, really quickly. But
a lot of it is that mask, like having armor in this matchup, having that opportunity to protect yourself where Springman wouldn't otherwise, it has made a huge difference because he was just able to beef through all of Hanukkah's attacks. And you could see Hanukkah just recognizing that that was just not a winning situation. Didn't utilize the rush, has chose to hold on to it so he can take Mario's mask away in this exchange. And now he's got advantage holding on.
Yeah, both of Hanukkah's arms aren't effective against super armor or heavy characters. So I'm surprised he went with the same arms. But as long as he could not allow him to get red mask, then he is in the clear. As we can see this time, he has really shut down that mask. He will get red mask, so he might be able to pull it back. But it will.
Hanukkah's got another rush coming though, and if Hanukkah gets a good read on plays, he can easily best this down. This might be already set, especially if Mario's a little too eager with that rush, because Hanukkah's will just outbox him. And you can see Hanukkah trying to bait that rush out, looking for a chance to just power through. But Mario keeping up a nice boxing rate, just keeping this tempo, and is just doing so much arm damage, but that double punch is going to be costly as Hanukkah slows time down with that Actress Aura, sees it coming decades ahead, and is going to punish it with a well-timed rush.
Yeah, I don't have any doubts that Hanukkah will stick with Twintel, but the question is if Mario will switch to Springman next round, since that is his main. He seemed to do pretty well with Masango. I haven't really seen him play Masango, but he obviously brings it out for matches like these where Springman is at an obvious disadvantage. Yeah,
I feel like I can see him wanting to go back to Springman, but I'm going to take the guess and say that he's going to be sticking with Masango, especially since, as I said before, we don't fully understand how the matchup goes. He probably is still figuring it out, and it definitely looks like there's potential for it to be a little more even, with opportunities for him to be an advantage. What he's definitely looking for with Masango is get that red mask or get that blue mask just to kind of dodge everything that Hanukkah's throwing out and utilize that movement opportunity. So we are going to be seeing that Masango as a result. Hanukkah going to be sticking with that loadout, just knows his strategy. He knows what he's looking for, and he's just focused on trying to punish out any attempt Mario goes for that red mask. And we're seeing 2 quick pokes as a result of those callouts. Hanukkah slowing down just a little bit, giving Mario that chance to finally get that red mask on. We are seeing Rush quickly come up. Basically, the only ways that Hanukkah can take Mario down if he's got that red mask is if he gets a successful grab, if Mario isn't moving in a way that gives him that armor, or if a Rush exchange comes out in Hanukkah's favor and takes Mario down. But we are seeing Mario drop that shield, drop that armor, just looking for that Rush protection, and is actually going to get punished and called out for it, as Hanukkah now just has a lot of control on the field, throws out a very clean 300 damage Rush. We're probably going to see him look for the kill, and then take this next round much more defensively, much more patiently, and looking to generate Rush for the next coming round, just so he can hold that advantage again. Especially with Mario having a very safe opportunity to equip Red Mask here.
Yeah, Hanukkah tries to get closer to Mario, but Mario's very good with that popper slap him at just distance from him. Because if he gets close, gets that grab, he won't be able to get masked again if Hanukkah is in close. That
nice call out. And Hanukkah actually has enough health difference that if he throws out this rush and it lands, he will be able to take the advantage. You can see he's trying to look for that opportunity. The armor is just making it a little tricky to do.
Yeah. Hanukkah would most likely that red mask. Unfortunately for Hanukkah, Mario was able to steal that, will still keep the red mask. That red mask is really the break, the killer no. Mario really trying to get this mask when he wakes up. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get that red mask.
Blue Mask is doing some work though, regardless, as he's going to dance around Hanukkah, and off of that whipped rush, Mario now has a bit of advantage, a bit more ground. Scratch out, Hanukkah has a rush of his own, just about ready, and he'll have his first. Ooh, Hanukkah actually had a chance for a rush, didn't realize it, was anticipating that rush to ready up just a little bit sooner. Now he's got to try to be careful, get that mask off of Hanukkah, or get off of Mario. Successfully does so. Now he's looking to try to secure this rush. Oh, nice catch with Mario though. Does manage to get 300 damage and sets up with a health lead.
Hanukkah really trying to close in that distance in order to get that rush. And he will get it. Now Mario does not have a red mask, and it seems that Hanukkah will be able to get him in that hot pocket, but not for long.
Oh no, Mario is stuck in that hot pocket, and he is stuck there for life as Hanukkah finishes off the match with a KO grab, and he's just gonna be sleeping in that corner for a little while.
Yep. I think Mario picking Buster was hoping that he would be able to get Hanukkah in that hot pocket with red mask, but Hanukkah was able to control if Mario got red mask so well that, like I said, it's really life or death if Mario has red mask. So once one doesn't have it, Hanukkah was able to kind of walk all over him and get him in that hot pocket. He was able to take it. By the way, do the masks have a name? I feel like red mask doesn't sound right.
I mean, kind of, but not necessarily. I don't think we'd have official terminology for those masks. If anybody in chat would like to lean in and add if there is a different kind of form, or different definitions for them, but generally, we could just call them what they are. Otherwise, just go the way of Shulk. We've got shield or armor, which is the red mask. We've got speed, which is blue mask, and then we've got rush, which would be the yellow mask.
Yeah, I just learned today that Springtron is his ability is Big Bang, not EMP. I didn't know. I thought EMP was the official name.
EMP just fits in too well. Big Bang makes sense. Big Bang makes sense, but I feel like EMP makes more sense, which is the problem, and that's why most people look at EMP, like myself, and be like, ah, that's what it's called.
Yeah, Big Bang sounds like a Dragon Ball Z move, so I don't think I'll ever call it that.
Yellow Mask is Meter Man? Yeah, pretty much. Meter Man, Rush Man, Rusher. The Rushdown. Yeah, Rushdown works. Rushdown Mask. That sounds fair.
Yeah. So both our players are taking their sweet time, picking their stages.
I mean, it's a tricky thing to plan out, and it can, especially for arms, like, stages change a lot of tempo. Like, I don't want to ever go to DNA Lab, yet there's a lot of players that will definitely swing at the chance to take me there, and it's just like, what's better for which player, which stage works better for the character, and then you combine the two, and you're trying to go into those calculations. Like, Dastardly, for example, plays Coil, and Coil is usually very bad in Valladolce, but then you take him in particular, and all of a sudden you do not want to pick that stage, even though he mains Coil, because it's one of his specific better stages.
Yeah, both players know that a stage is very important when it comes to tournaments. That they know that a stage can make them win or it can make them lose. So it's definitely a thing to think about, and a difference between just like a regular competitive player and like a top level player is knowing which character is best.
What
was that?
I should have Landfrog unless he removed me. He should be able to join through Luna otherwise. Cool.
Cool.
Alright, so we are going to be diving right into the next bout. We have Luna Gabs facing off against Landfrog. Luna, well known for playing everything. Just...
Recently, he has been playing a lot of Twintel in tournament. So Twintel and Chakram is what I know him for, at least.
If he does have a main, it would be Twintel.
Yeah, and then Landfrog known for his clapback, or Guardian, Ninjara.
Though he does have a couple other arms that he tends to work with otherwise, so maybe we'll probably see some of those step into the field, especially if Luna just shows a strong understanding. One of the big things about Guardian is just the fact that it is such a matchup arm. It's one of those tools that it's not always great, but if your opponent isn't prepared for it, it will slaughter them. But once they show some kind of understanding on how to play against it, it kind of crumbles quickly.
Yeah, I don't know about Twintel, but I know characters like Lilipop can just kind of dominate over Guardian, and especially Clapback. Mm-hmm. So, Landfrog choosing not to go, or maybe,
yeah, it looks like he's wanting to go in with it. We've got the Chilla on the side as well, and Luna going in with the exact same loadout that we saw Hanukkah coming in, the SDL special. These two are two of the best arms that a Twintel player can be rolling with. Just so much coverage, so much pressure that comes in with them. They work so exquisitely with Twintel's Actress Aura, slowing things down, seeing exactly what your opponent's going to do, and just throwing one, the other, or both out, and you're probably going to punish your opponent.
Yeah, this, I believe, is the set that got Landfrog to top 8 in the first NA Open, so he's definitely a formidable opponent. But Luna Gabs is an entire beast by himself. Speaking of which, sign up for the second NA Open, please.
It'll be very hype. It'll be really exciting.
Landfrog is sitting on Rush. That would tie up the scores. instead deciding to go for the grab.
The grab itself balanced things out as he is now in the health
Yeah.
lead against Luna. Luna trying to just grab enough space to be able to charge up another rush, as that could be the opportunity for the KO. But Lanfrog just holding ground solidly and is going to be able to secure a very confident KO, not even needing to utilize that rush yet. Oh, nice pineapple grab, calling out Luna on that opening gambit. Just like that, Slapamander Guardian also really fast with those grabs and allowed Lanfrog just to quickly surprise Luna and start off with some good damage and an advantage.
Battle the pineapple grab, but Luna Gabs was able to quickly evade around that Guardian. The rush that will be quite a health loss for Luna Gabs. Now Lanfrog solidly with a solid health.
Yeah, it was a really strong ice chain that Lanfrog was just able to land, which took half of Luna's health away. We are seeing Luna make a recovery, just looking for a little bit more of an opportunity to take the lead, and that grab is going to be the chance.
Yeah, suddenly they are tied now, but I expect no less of a comeback from Luna Gab, and that grab will put Lanfrog in a one-hit scenario. And there he takes it with that tiny little Tri-Blast. The petty hit. Lanfrog deciding to go with the T-Bird. Or not T-Bird. Phoenix. Oh my.
Phoenix can be a little bit more effective here, especially if Lanfrog is worried that Luna might be figuring out the Guardian matchup. I feel like it's always risky to change it up as soon as you lose, because it can surprise your opponent, but it also means that sometimes your foe just got lucky in responding to your tool right, and you go into the next one. There's a lot of cases where if you just stuck with your guns and just made some light adjustments, you would work things out and be able to turn things around regardless. That said, the Phoenix doing some nice work, getting some good pokes and damage. Luna is a very confident lead though, and we might be looking more on that timeline where the Phoenix is just... It's one of those cases where Luna got through the Guardian, sees it go away, and we just see a quick sigh of relief from Luna as they recognize that this match might just be theirs because of that.
Yeah, he's now sitting with Rush, but decides to go with the grab for the Rush bait, and Luna takes it. I'm wondering going into this next match if Lanfrog will make any arm changes, possibly character changes.
We're definitely seeing the Ninjara stick. We might be looking at a more defensive stage, just like how in our first match Slayer would probably benefit more from a defensive stage. Again, I can see Scrapyard, Temple Grounds might be a nice pick, DNA Lab could be arguably solid. Something that really allows that Guardian to shine, because it was what really showed Lanfrog's opportunity and potential and a lot of his strengths in this matchup. And while Luna was able to call it out and secure that one round in response, it was like, it's still just one round. If Lanfrog is able just to kind of keep his calm, come up with a course of action with that Guardian, I can see it quickly becoming too much for Luna to handle again.
Yeah, I do think that Luna Gabs is confident in his set right now. The Chakram Tri-Blast on the Twin Tail, though. I wouldn't be surprised if he did switch to characters, because like you said, he's a man of many characters. He mains the entire cast.
That said, he did win the round. He does have advantage. He might just want to stick with Twin Tail because he has that confidence. He has the understanding. Unless it's a stage that's just really bad for her, which, let's face it, no such thing.
Yeah, stick to his guns, keeping it safe. And keeping it safe is what'll allow him to win.
Might allow him to win.
Might. Sparring ring. And Lanfrog going with the Min.
This is a really risky play, especially going to sparring ring. If we went somewhere a little bit larger, I could see this switch, but this pretty much means that Lanfrog going to be playing Min without a chance to get Dragon Arm, and that is not a good place to be. You'd probably be better off just sticking with the Ninjara then, because he still has a lot of Ninjara's movement options then. Where here, he's just playing a worse Ninjara until he gets that Dragon Arm rolling.
Yeah, but you know, Min once you do get that ball rolling, though, you really get that ball rolling. So I've definitely cases where Minions are in red health, trying to get Dragon Arm that entire time. Their opponent is basically at 100%, but once you get Dragon Arm, they basically have to come back with a century. So who knows, Landfrog might have something up his sleeve. But
it could be that way, but my concern just being the fact that, like, if Landfrog really was going in with that kind of strategy and plan, he would have picked Viadolch. He would have picked Buster Beach. He would have picked DNA Life. He would have picked somewhere where he can start with getting that Dragon Arm. I think this is just a misplay on his part.
I'm not sure
this is such a risky choice. And we're not seeing it work out.
Until he knocks down Lunagabs and is able to safely get that Dragon Arm, I don't know. I don't know about that. But going double Chilla, we've seen him. He's very good with the Ice Chains, so he might just Ice Chain his way to victory.
But he loses that Dragon Arm, and Luna immediately back in contention, even without that rush. Just as long as he's throwing out pokes, as long as he's pressuring Landfrog out, it's like these are just easy punishes, easy dodges, and he's gonna throw out one of his own. Luna gonna maybe try to go for a Dragon Arm, but this pressure is just causing him too much. And again, he's just doing Ninjara stuff, but with Min Min.
Yeah, that Guardian, especially on Sparring Ring, was probably the biggest misplay of last match. That's Chilla. He's already done a lot more damage than he did last match. So, and he has Dragon Arm with Rush. I stand corrected, but at least he still has Rush. So he could knock down, and it seems that he will be able to get Dragon Arm. Lunagabs with under 25% health. He could take this.
But Luna does have that Rush ready. Only needs another good trade. On top of this Rush, we do get 300 damage, and now it is very last hit for Landfrog. And off of that one exchange, that's going to call it. Definitely was able to... Go ahead.
Lunagabs in that corner was really, really smart in the fact that he knew that Landfrog couldn't really do anything. He jumped to miss a grab, and then if he were to, by the time he landed and shielded or tried to shield, he already connected his rush, and there went the match. So Lunagabs definitely knew that he had that by the time he got him in that corner.
Yeah, I feel like that was just a really bad stage counter pick that blew up in Landfrog's face. Managed to make some things work a little bit better on that second round. But unfortunately, even then, just not having a chance to build up Dragon Arm and not really having arms that worked effectively to pressure in such a close range stage. While the Chillas were really good, they work a lot better mid to long range, even on Min Min. Unless you have that space to start getting in, that's just a rough stage for Min Min. And it just, that was just painful for the poor guy. That said, he still has another chance. We'll be fighting it out in the lower brackets. And Luna will be advancing to face off against Twin 5-0, who was able to take out his opponent, J-Ro, 2-0.
Possibly that Sparring Ring and the Min Min counter pick could have worked on anybody but Lunagabs and his twins' health. But one of the crucial parts of stage picking is knowing who you're going up against. And now he knows, you live and you learn. Possibly if we see them in bracket, possibly in lowers, he might go with the Min Min, but definitely not on Sparring Ring. We know that for sure. And definitely not with the Guardian on Min Min. Double Chilla did seem to work, though. Possibly as good as his Ninjara.
Alright, and we do have some slides coming up. So let's talk about some cool stuff, like the Low Kick podcast. Low Kick has their own podcast series. Tune in Saturdays 5 p.m. right here, and you'll be able to hear them talk about all sorts of fighting games, all sorts of cool fun stuff. Good times. good times to be had, so definitely check them out. And then, of course, we do have the next Low Kick eSports tournament series coming up on Tuesday, August 4th. We've got Under Night and Birth. I love this game. It's so good. I haven't played it in a long time, but this game is so fun. I love the colors. It's a beautiful game. Definitely, please do go check it out. You will not be disappointed. And of course, support the Low Kick TOs and streamers. All donations go directly to the team. Help them out. Help the organizers. It's always nice to be able to get organizers a little bit of money for the hard work and effort they put into these things. Because generally, TOs, streamers, don't make much money off this. Most of the money usually gets raised for the players, and then they're just kind of sitting back on the side. And we've got the donation channel right over here. Donation link in chat. Just go ahead and follow that out. And you'll be able to maybe poke in a bit of money of your own. And of course, this tournament has a match arena going on for itself. Speaking of those players, just follow the link in chat. Do the match arena command to see the link pop up otherwise. And help give the tournament players a little bit of money rolling too. Right now we've got $21.60 going in. It's not a lot, but at the same time, every penny helps, and it's always appreciated. It could be a lot more though, especially with the code that is in chat. You can just contribute or go through one of the sponsor links to be able to help have them chip in a little bit more on top. Why haven't you done it yet? That's a good question, Mega Man. And, of course, I run my own tournaments. I've got the Scrap Star series. Coming up, we are at the end of the NA Online season, which means that the NA series will be taking a small hiatus, a small break. We've got a bunch of other things going on, though, and you just want to check out battlefied.com/planetscrapstar to be able to check out all of those events. Generally, it's on Mondays, but you never know when else you might see something coming down on the pipeline. Of course, we do have the bi-weekly procrastination, another ARMS event. This one actually runs all week, organized and ran by the Ohio ARMS community. Lots of really cool faces there, a lot of good matches that you can have, and unlike a lot of tournaments, while this one is double elimination, this one runs across the entire week, so you contact your players, make plans with them, and you participate, play throughout the entire week, and just, yeah, it's a lot more relaxing, a little more procrastinating, and it just works out well for everybody. And of course, we do have the Steel Trap, as people are talking right now about how cool Steelhead is. He runs his own tournament series right now, Steel Trap, every Thursday. We've got a link right there on the screen, open to all players in North America. Double elimination, has him on Mike or Hanukkah, or he might be competing this time, I believe. It's always good, always fun. Do check it out. Look at that graphic, it looks pretty. And of course, we do have Confectionery Clash, a new tournament series that runs very similarly to ones from the olden days, back before the ARMS scene really had a more consistently competitive online scene. It is still treated very competitively, and there's a lot of cool things going on in there. There's even cash prizes for those people who like that moolah. Check it out every Saturday, well, most Saturdays. And of course, there's a lot of things going on at Network Era. Check her out on that Discord link. You can see things going on for the EU scene, the NA scene on Sundays. We've got things going on Wednesday, I believe. Lots of variety that goes on at Network Era. If you want to see a default bracket, that's where you go. If you want to see state tournaments with a little bit more stage variety, such as Ramen Bowl and Sky Arena, again, Network Era is the place you want to go. And of course, this is all encompassed under the NA Online Season 4, running from May to July. people who place well in all of those tournaments, all these brackets, including this one, will be able to get their points, get their placement, climb up in the bracket, and potentially make it to the Invitational, which should hopefully have money for these players. Link is right on the screen if you'd like to donate to that as well. Give these players that are working so hard on competing in these tournaments a little bit of a reward, a little bit of a pat on the back. It would be greatly appreciated. Yeah, there's one more. Spenjo. Did you get it?
I sent it to him. Let's
Cool.
hope
We'll see it in moments. Oh, there you go.
There we go. Oh, very low res. Anyway, Polaris, in my opinion, is one of the best ways to get better at this game. We have a mentor system with the best players in the world of each character, where you can just hit them up and have a little coaching sesh. On top of one of the most active friendlies, just hit up arms friendlies and get a quick couple of matches, and just a welcoming community. So why not? And there's a link in chat.
What are you talking about? That's like the highest quality graphic out of all of them.
Yeah, you gotta work with what you got.
I've never seen anything with such high quality graphics.
That was designed by the wonderful Polaris designer Freebird, who is also in this tournament, but unfortunately I needed it like almost immediately, so I need to go through our Discord logs, and that is what Discord Mobile provided.
Excellent. It's so high quality that we could be on the PS6 and it still wouldn't be able to keep up with that one.
I know.
Alright, and I think we are all set up. We've got Hanukkah Jamboree, we've got Steelhead. Steelhead is interrupting this very important match that we are going to be beginning right away because he wants to shill himself a little bit. Even more so than the tournament that he just got a call out for.
Damn, Steelhead still counter number 2.
We do have a link in chat for people who are interested in a guide talking about getting into arms.
I need to check this out too. I didn't even know about this. Thank you, Steel. Steel has done so much for this. A round of applause for Steel. I won't actually do that. That'll hurt your eardrum.
And quick, we're gonna just finish with one final link. There's a stage guide to accompany Steels, so not only are you learning how to play arms, you know where to go now. And we're going to be going over to Sparring Ring Steel, going in with the double nade and just looking to thwomp down Hanukkah Jamboree, starting off really strong too.
Yeah, double nade, some of Actress Aura's worst nightmares. But Slapamander, I wonder what that'll do for Max Brass.
Mm-hmm.
The Tri-Blast seems to be doing some damage, but not enough.
This can be such a swingy stage for Max Brass, just like what we were talking about with Min Min. If Steel doesn't get the chance to buff up and get that armor rolling, this can be really difficult and really easy for Hanukkah just to pressure and poke. But if Steel's able to keep the space, keep that distance, he has a lot of advantage and control out of it. And at least for Max Brass as well, he's got a little bit of advantage. When he gets low on health, Max Brass will enrage, giving him permanently charged arms and armor. But we might not be seeing that for a little bit, as Steel currently holding on to a 60% health lead on Hanukkah and is just looking to keep this tempo with one more well-aimed poke.
And there you go, right as Malik said. She's a psychic.
I mean, I figured...
Or you just know how this game plays, you know? One or the other.
I've played this game for years. Yes. Heading into this next round, Steel starting off quickly with the rush, getting a lot of shield chip damage, but nothing substantial. Does get the disarm coming in just a few moments later. And is just utilizing this momentum to try to keep pelting Hanukkah down as he tries to build up yet another rush.
A pineapple rush, will you?
Mm-hmm. Hanukkah
That
continues to
deflex
try to
is
go
not let
into.
that Tri Blast in.
No, he does not want it. Like, he can eat it pretty fine with that armor, but even then, it's still aggravating. It's still frustrating. And when he doesn't have the armor, he's such a big body that if he is not focused on punishing that Tri-Blast, it will just cause him an unending amount of pain. The Slap-O-Mander finally finding a way in. An excellent rush counter tool, especially if your opponent's just kind of standing there like Steel was.
Yeah, just hooks around and gets them from the back.
Now Hanukkah, just looking to try to rebuild some ground, is making some really nice choice pokes. He does have a Shield Breaker's Rush, which means if he finds a chance to throw it out, he could eat through Steel's health and potentially set up for a KO, but unfortunately for him, Steel only needed one more nade, and that nade found its way to Hanukkah's face. And we will not be seeing a Jamboree as a result of that, as Steel claims the first point.
Yeah, I think both. I don't know. I say, or you say that Luna mains every character, but I have only seen him play Twintel. So he might switch, he might not. I think
this is Hanukkah.
Oh, all right then. Never mind. I'll shut my mouth. I've never seen Hanukkah play any other character, but I know Steel is very confident in his Max Brass. I know he has been playing Helix and Tron recently. He wants to be the best Tron in the world by default.
I mean, there's a couple other Trons out there. You don't see them too often. They're
not too often.
They're hidden in the frameworks, just building themselves up and looking to get all powerful. But yeah, that's going to be a good advantage for Steel. I don't think we're going to see the Spring Tron come out unless we get a defensive enough stage for him to be able to get the space to get those EMPs. Because otherwise, it's just Springman, but without Enrage against Twintel, and that is not a matchup anybody wants.
Agreed. Yeah, both are taking their sweet time yet again, but I don't blame them. No, it's a big deal.
Lots of planning, lots of calculation going into those stages. There's a lot of ways it can go wrong if he isn't planning things right. It looks like he's decided that we're going to be taking a swing at Temple Grounds. I can see this being a fair shake. Starting things off, Steelhead going to be switching over to the nade here, recognizing that there's a good chance that this is going to be a much more spacious, much more defensive stage, a little bit more room to breathe, which means that Blammer is going to be a little more effective at just keeping Hanukkah at bay.
Yeah, Steelhead obviously really likes his explosion, which work against Twintel's actor Aura, so I don't blame him.
I mean, explosions are some of the best things in this game. You know what you're doing with them. You can chew through an armored opponent's health in a few moments.
Yeah.
Before they can get a swing out a single nade themselves. And starting things off, Hanukkah just a little bit behind, looking for an opportunity to bring things back, and Steel losing that tempo, losing out on that buff might be that opportunity that Hanukkah's looking for, especially with these pillars slowly falling apart and making it all that more easier for Hanukkah to close in the distance. An excellent dodge going in for Hanukkah.
Impeccable movement from Hanukkah. But the tempo of the match can really just sway at any moment because Explosion just does so much damage that it can really shoot even to yourself, you know? So the health can really just fluctuate at any moment. And that slap also does a ton of damage. Coming down to the 10-second mark, it seems that Steelhead is going to take it slow with this deflex.
Oh, that's gonna work, and 120 damage is just gonna be enough.
It all happened in a flash, but I believe Steel tried to knock him out of rush, but I think chip damage wouldn't have gotten him down, so I think shield would have just been the best play.
No, that's a shield breaker rush. If Hanukkah if Steel just chose to eat that, Hanukkah would have definitely taken him out there regardless. So you had to do whatever he play.
Slapamander rush is lethal to shields. Very interesting dynamic we got here. Hanukkah now sitting on rush, and Steel on this corner. Although he does have explosions, that rush kit can definitely, you know, like I said, Slapamander rush. It doesn't hit often, but when it does do a lot of damage, especially paired with that Tri-Blast.
Tri-Blast Slapamander, just a really solid combo in that it allows him to have a lot of coverage. While he's not going to be too great at boxing, it does mean that as long as he's dodging, utilizing the Actress Aura, he just waits it out, sees the window to go in for a punish, and it's usually going to work out well for him.
Yeah, now that Steel got rid of his rush, that means that Hanukkah is able to pressure a little bit more than when both had rushed. He is in that corner again. It depends on how long he stays in there. It seems that Hanukkah is taking it a little bit slow, keeping his distance, and he waited for the right time to use rush. Not exactly an optimal rush, but it seems that Hanukkah will win this round with 4 seconds left. Even with Steelhead, I think having rush, yet he'll keep it.
There's nothing he could do there. The rush wouldn't have been enough, especially with Hanukkah with the shield. The grab wouldn't have been enough. So Hanukkah going to be able to balance this out, brings the score to 1-1.
Yeah, it came down to the wire there. Both very good players, and they're both very good friends as well. I know the shenanigans happening in that chat must be overwhelming.
Yeah, these two have played each other an immeasurable amount of times, so they know what they're looking for, they know what they're wanting, and they know how to get it. But they also know that their opponent knows all those things too, which is why Temple Ground just worked out so well for Hanukkah. Steel has a couple of tricks up his sleeve to try to counter it out, but unfortunately, still a really good stage for Twintel, and gives Hanukkah the space he needs to properly pressure and poke things down. And it was a great opportunity to lead him into getting that point. Heading into our next bout, it looks like we're going to go straight back into Sparring Ring. I know Hanukkah has stages that he's much more worried about than this one, especially since if Hanukkah can get any kind of advantage, any kind of tempo, this could be really rough for Steelhead. But if Steel's keeping up pace and is able to pressure effectively here, this just... It's a scary place because you got a giant scary Brass right in your grill with double mates looking to just blow you out of the water.
Yeah, he immediately got that grab because of just the immense pressure he got on Hanukkah almost immediately. He's now in that corner. A reverse of what Temple Grounds that last match was. Steel backing up, try and get a big boy form.
Buff up. Get that armor. He's going to go for the rush, and nice catch on that Tri-Blast is going to secure 320 damage. This is likely going to be one... with that Roaster connecting, now it's potentially Hanukkah's game. Steel just needs 2 trades or a successful grab to be able to take Hanu out. Now anything will do. Hanukkah might just be better off taking the L here, so he can go in with a huge rush advantage. Because Steel is likely set to be able to take this under control, and we are going to see that. And that little bit of hesitation, that decision to try to swing for the comeback, means that Steel's pretty much ready with another rush coming into this next round.
Basically. Yeah, it's very it's very unique to ARMS that you could throw a match and that would be the best decision. I think that's a very neat option.
It's crazy that sometimes when a round is just so far gone, it's better just to be like, yep, this is not worth trying to invest into anymore. I'm going to put my money elsewhere. And unfortunately, because Hanukkah tried to make that comeback before, Steel got that rush built up and was able to start off with a huge lead as a result.
That counter rush is insane.
But we do see Hanukkah quickly building things back up, looking to try to keep this chase going with a lot of nice pokes, a lot of shield chip damage, and Steel just slowly losing out on health as a result. Granted, Hanukkah's losing a lot himself because of these constant just nade barrages. Yo, an SD button? Why isn't there an SD button in ARMS? That should be a thing.
Why isn't there a win button? Like, why can't I just press a button and win?
I mean, that's a different conversation. Throwing a round, that's different than throwing a match, especially if it's the first one. If you have rush advantage going into that first round, or if you have rush advantage, but it looks like you're not going to be able to bring things back, say your opponent's at 90% health, and you can't take a single hit more, sometimes it's better just to take that knockout right there so that you can go into the next round with rush ready, full health evened out on both players, and get yourself a chance to be able to bring things around and start with that initial pressure.
Yet again, it came down to the wire, but this time in Steelhead's favor, and he will take that.
Steel now with the 2-1 advantage. Might be seeing Spider-Man get banned in the next round if Hanukkah manages to take things down, as he'll want to try to pick maybe somewhere else. I still believe that can work out for him, but it's just Steel is so confident there, and Hanukkah's just not able to make the right calls to be able to make things work out. And with that, one of the big differences with meter in this game is the fact that you retain meter. Where if you're super far behind and you have more meter, you want to retain that going into the next one without giving your opponent meter. Where in a lot of other games, like Guilty Gear, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, I haven't played that game in forever. It doesn't matter how much meter you have at the end of a round. Once you move to the next round, it's reset. In ARMS, you keep it. So if you go in with full meter, full rush, going into the next round and your opponent doesn't have it, you immediately have so much more advantage. You have a safe deflect option. If you get a good trade off of it, then you immediately get to continue on with that advantage pressure. You get a huge amount of burst damage from that as well. And you get to start by pressuring with rush already available, which just means that you can kind of keep that chase going. And your opponent is immediately has to respect you, which means that you're less likely to come across like wake up or pineapple grabs or just cheese that you might not be very fond of.
And the fact that it carries over means that scenarios like throwing a match,
throwing a round, not a match,
match game round. Yeah, I'm not too. I gotta familiarize myself with the lingo. It's very interchangeable.
My lingo doesn't necessarily line up with what everybody else says, but
yeah,
this that could have been a very different second round if Hanukkah recognized that he was just that far gone and wasn't likely to be able to bring things back, because Steel built up like 75-80% of his rush, just looking for that final hit and just playing patiently, and Hanukkah did nothing with it, which just meant that Steel was able to get the KO, and then we saw what happened. Like, Steel went in for a punish, Hanukkah wasn't able to contend, and brought the score to 2-2. I mean, they'll have the round up, yes. Oh, it's still best of 3, so that means that Steel is going to be advancing. Hanukkah will be knocked down. They will have the round up, but if you start off with the rush advantage, if you have that opportunity, you can utilize that pressure. Like, I've seen rounds go in where if you start off with rush, you can pressure your opponent enough and efficiently so that they don't even get a build meter. Like, there's so many cases where you'll start off with rush, you go in with a quick rush play, or you start pressuring them, you get a few hits with rush, and then you continue and you finish that round, and you go into the third round, your opponent might have built half meter, which they can't do anything with, they need full meter, and you've built up a whole nother meter going into the next one, so you again start off with advantage.
Yeah, and sometimes rush, you don't even use it. Like, you get it, and you could just pressure your opponent so much to the point where you win that round without even using rush because of rush deflect. You know,
Yeah.
You can just walk all over them. You can jump as much as you want, as long as you could time it correctly, and as long as it's not explosion.
And
then you
utilize that pressure, like, that means that you can potentially go into the next round again with rush advantage. Like, starting off with meter advantage, it might not be as big in other games, but in ARMS it is huge what you can do with just meter at start.
And that'll make or break a game for somebody. I've seen it happen. Of course, there's rush bait, which we've seen a couple times already. In the corner, you jump, and they shield thinking that you're going to rush, and then you grab. Or you grab, and they counter grab or counter punch, and then you rush deflect. And since their arms aren't retracted, or they can't shield and they're in the air, you get that rush, and that could, yet again, make or break a game for someone.
Indeed. And with that, we are going to be heading into our next bout. We're going to be going to DNA Lab. Looks like Twin50 sticking with his main. Luna going in with as close to his main as you could think of with Twintel, Toaster, and Chakram. Again, really solid combo for Twintel players. And Twin going in with probably what is generally seen, at least in NA, as the best Lollipop setup. You see other Lollipops coming across in North America utilizing this loadout too. Like, maybe a variant, maybe Hydra instead of Biffler, maybe Fire Dragon instead of Ice, but it's pretty much this loadout in some manner or another. Gillyboat being another notable one. He's got Popper and Homie, which, it's that light cover spread arm with a solid zoning arm. It's a popular style, and Twin's the best of the bunch of players who generally work with that.
Twin was really able to take that round, to kind of dominate, but yeah, there you go, that shield break, but Twin immediately waking up and going with the Lola dash grab, and yet another grab. I think the grabs are, like we were talking about before, that rush pressure is just so immense. He just keeps shielding that rush is coming. Eventually, rush did come, but he was able to get off 3 grabs in succession.
Off of that pressure.
Off of that rush pressure, exactly. And he was able to take the match because of it. Or game. Or round. Something like that.
So to explain how I generally think of this stuff, since we have the rounds and stuff, I tend to look at it kind of like tennis. So games or rounds would be the individual little circle markers on the top of the screen. When you've got 2 of those, that would be set. And arguably, like, set, change course, so on and so forth. We're picking a new stage in that regard. And then once you've claimed enough sets, that's match, which is the end of the bout. And then you advance in bracket, your opponent gets knocked out, or they move down in brackets.
I've always thought as a game, as like a best of 3 rounds, which is the little circles on the top. But that's not from any prior experience. That's just me putting words to actions.
Yeah.
So that's probably completely wrong. But the ARMS was really my first fighting game, so
yeah.
And because
I mean, I'm literally using tennis lingo to explain.
Yeah.
To talk about how I interpret this game. That also said, I don't know what's wrong with my brain, but there's something very wrong with it.
Yeah,
let's move into the next match, though. We have Luna sticking with the Twintel. Oh, no, we've got a different character. Yeah, we've got Riven coming in here. Toaster, Slap-A-Bender, and Tri-Blast. Can be really tricky against that Biffler, but that also said, might be a little bit easier to slip in at the same time as long as Luna is making the right calls.
I'm so glad we are able to see another character of Luna. This is my first time seeing his ribbon as well, so I'm along with
Hopefully we get some time to see it, because right now Twin is giving us very little an opportunity
really.
to let Luna shine, as he is just calling out this ribbon and punishing it out with everything that he's got. His loadout is pretty well designed as an anti-air. His loadout's pretty well designed as an anti-everything.
Yeah, really. But yeah, that Biffler, I'm surprised he went ribbon though, because that Biffler and the Ice Dragon really can really shut down a ribbon. Although it does seem that Luna plays his ribbon girl similar to his twin tail, which is a lot more grounded. I don't blame him against a player like Twin 5-0, who likes to stay in shield a lot and is very unpredictable because of that. Mind games are a big thing against Twin 5-0. Both players are really just keeping their distance. That dragon is and the blind and the Biffler really are
Luna's just struggling so much against that Ice Dragon. His Twin constantly just calling out his plays and has punished him time and time again. We do finally see a punish, and Luna can potentially get the KO with this rush. Just needs to find that moment, but the Biffler isn't gonna give us that moment. One more call out happens, and that's gonna be Twin 5-0, moving on with a Twin 2-0.
Haha. That was good. Yeah, that camera
that would just be a twin though.
That camera wasn't able to keep up at the end with Twin, so he tried to grab it miserably, and he was able to get the Biffler to the face. But yeah, that Dragon Arm is probably one of the best zoning tools in this game. If you think about it, all arms are zoning tools, but Dragon Arm does have that even farther reach than most arms, or all arms, maybe.
It's a little slower in getting out at close range. Like, pretty much everything across the board will be out faster and doing damage than an Ice Dragon or a Fire Dragon. But when you look at max distance or, like, very long distance, then all of a sudden that laser comes out faster, since the beam is just... It's that entire range at once, where everything else is, like, slowly, fastly, speed movement-wise, moving towards the target, where that beam is just... It's not there, now it's there. And then it just moves across like a little laser grid. And you're kind of playing with a WoW mechanic as you're trying to dance around these laser beams. Alright, and with that, that does mean that Twin 5-0 will be advancing against Luna Gabs. Luna will be facing off against... let's see... I believe Luna will be facing off against Treebird. We might be seeing that one right away, or we'll be heading over to the winter finals. We'll be figuring that out in just a moment. Okay, fine. We're going to go to the comeback bracket then. Not the losers, because this is where you make the comebacks. and on the other side, Hanukkah is awaiting either Landfrog or Flesh Eater, who are locked into a 1-1 score.
Yeah, I know Flesh Eater does Rang, so that really just turns around Guardian. So if Landfrog is using Guardian, I see why it is a 1-1 scenario.
Yeah, that can be a pretty dicey one.
Mm-hmm. So who are we streaming next?
Well, we've got Luna Gabs and Treebird readied up, so we're going to be checking this out. Treebird, very well known for being another Max Brass rep. Maybe not as notorious as Steelhead, but still a terrifying player in their own right. Taking Mario 119 out 2-0 to advance to the comeback quarterfinals.
I do know Tree very well. I probably spar with him more than anybody else. He typically runs Brass with Megawatt, his signature big ball brass or Christian brass, and and also the Chilla Chakram. And that Chilla Chakram, oh my gosh, he ice changed me to oblivion. The the games that this man plays with my mind, I cannot deal with it. He can just ice chain me and perfect me all he wants, and I cannot do anything about it. His ice chaining abilities, in my opinion, are really good, but I might just be stupid. But the chakra also does come in handy.
A lot of it too is just how rewarding it is to get ice chained with Brass. To explain what an ice chain is in this game, there are multiple elements in this game, one of which being the ice element. When you manage to land a charged ice arm, it freezes the opponent for 5 seconds. During this time, their movement is significantly diminished, meaning that they can barely move left or right. Basically, it's non-existent. They're not able to charge their arms. They're just barely able to jump. It's basically like frame perfect to be able to be considered suspended in the air. Otherwise, you're grounded on the floor. And in that circumstance, that means that your only options are to punch with either of your arms, shield, or grab. Or if you have rush, utilize that, which into its own can of beans.
I just shield and take the grab, because they could. If I don't shield and they just keep Chilla or Coolerang, then it just is an endless cycle.
Yeah, but, I continue rolling.
Players are really good about getting out of that.
And why it works out so well for Brass is when a freeze lands, he can keep going for the ice chain, which is of course terrifying because you get frozen for 5 seconds. If they call out what you're going to do next, they freeze you again, freeze you again, freeze you again, you're dead.
Yeah,
the other alternatives that can happen is he freezes you if, say, he's got a chakram that can stun, which extends that flinch reaction that you'll see out of characters, which makes it a lot easier to follow up with combos such as rush or grab, which will lead into Brass being able to buff up, giving him that armor and permacharge, thus making it easier for him to get that charge and chain again.
Yeah, when he's in that charge mode, both stun and ice will always work when you're successfully hit by them. I do know that Tree has trouble against Lunagabs. I've never seen him play Seiki, but you never know. It does seem to be working pretty effectively against Seiki, and I do know that Tree has a weakness against the homie Seiki line because of Gilly Boat specifically.
I don't know, it doesn't look like it's working out too well, as Luna currently holding a 50% health lead. Tree finally starting to find a way in, but he still needs some kind of knockout down to get that buff, to get that tempo rolling, and Luna is just dancing and keeping that space. We finally see that chance. And now
playing around the pillars, really.
We get that shot, more chance for tempo, and he has brought it back as a result of those exchanges. Nice rush, that's not going to KO, but he's going to be really close to it. I think that's going to force Luna to throw something out. And with Treeburn making the decision to jump into the air, Luna didn't have to worry about him potentially bringing out the shield, which means a safe rush and a safe KO.
Yeah, that jump was questionable, especially against Seiki, which was going to kill him at that point. Seiki and Homie Rush are the closest you will get to like a combo in a traditional fighting game. It does half your health, and from a win confirm, you basically can't do anything about it.
I mean, I don't think traditional combos are take away all your health. Most of them are usually good 1-2-3s that do a solid chunk, but don't completely end the game for you.
Yeah, well, half your health, that's more reasonable. I mean, Seiki, or Homie Popper Rush, I believe, does 450 to 500, if I'm correct. So.
Oh, nice rush response.
Rush will do so much. 450 right there. That will put Tree in the deficit now, but he does have rush. He's sitting on it though, and he has to. This is the last. I am round for this game, match for this set. No, something like that.
No, it would be the set. Unless Tree is able to take Luna down, he's just looking for one good trade. That said, you can see he has to respect that rush again. And Luna is looking for a chance to just go for the kill, and it's the jump again!
there was that rush bait that I was talking about. He grabbed and Tree counter grabbed because if he were to shield, he would be grabbed if you were to punch through it. Or in that case, he grabbed. He would have rush deflect and rushed him. So ever since Luna grabbed, he won because he would have used rush no matter what.
Indeed. So something I will make note, as there is a bit of conversation going on in chat about it, there are two ways that, well, there's more than two ways, but one type covers one whole range of things, like GameCube controllers and the Pro Controller, and so on and so forth, and fight sticks. And the other is motion control, both of which are actually very viable ways to play this game, with currently one of, if not the best, NA player utilizing motion control. And then another of the other player that would be closest in contention does not use motion control. And you'll see a lot of players actually who utilize motion control show up in a lot of tournaments and just take people down. Granted, lots of controller players here too, like Luna and I think Tree's motion. I know Luna's controller though.
Yeah, Askew being the best Min in NA and possibly the world, and Gilly Boat being the best Lollipop NA at the moment.
No, that's Twins. That's like
yeah.
Twin 5-0.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, right.
I love Gilly Boat. I might be biased towards Gilly Boat, but I won't even hold this discussion.
Yeah, but he's possibly second NA, maybe third.
Definitely second.
But they both use motion. Motion allows for things like wide grabs to be easier. It's possible on controller, but not as easy, and also allows for better movement overall. But most people play controller because that's how they play every other game. So that, and when you can't teach an old dog new tricks,
I mean, you can if you want. It just depends on if the dog's in the mood for it.
I mean, yeah, it's very hard to switch to motion, in my opinion. I've tried.
It depends on the person. But depending on things, we can move on too, as we do have Treebird facing off against Luna Gabs. We've seen a quick change of arms. The nade switching out from the Chilla, and it's doing some good work. It's definitely making Luna just run a little bit faster, run a little bit harder, as that thing, while we're not seeing ice chains, we're seeing 150 damage each and every time it lands, and that is just painful. Oh, but there is a freeze or a shock from that Siki. 370 damage. Luna bringing it back, and now just looking for a little bit more ground. Needs 1 to 2 more trades to be able to take advantage.
Oh, that
Treatment only needed a side blast, though.
This Nade Chakram seems to be doing pretty well. And it makes sense. You stun with the Chakram and Nade doing a ton of damage. One of the best in the game when fully charged. On top of that, it's a glove, which seems to be a fan favorite type of arm.
Indeed. Yeah, the Nade is... Gloves in general are a fan favorite, but the Nade, like, a cut above the rest in terms of popularity and results, just with how much damage it is, how safe it can be.
Yeah, I'd say Nade, Roaster, and Toaster are the most used, utilized arms, because they're just good on basically every set, most sets. I'll keep it safe, most sets. And all three of them are gloves, of course. So...
Nice comeback coming in for Tree. Has to respect that rush, because if Luna makes one good read, that will be the KO. That said, it would only be a round, so he might be fine taking that. But he does see a nice chance to punish with the Chakram, and he is going to go for the rush. This Treebird will be singing as he takes the second set and brings the score to 1-1.
Something that I did notice is that there were a couple instances where Siki hit the pillar and caused Luna Gabs to electrify or blow up in his face and paralyze or shock, yeah, whatever you want to call it. And so I don't think we will be seeing another pillar stage if he does decide to go with the Twin Tail and the Seekie.
Indeed. And that's a big thing that a lot of players don't recognize, they're not aware of, and it so often leads to self-punishes, self-mistakes. It's caused players to blow themselves up with their homing rushes and lose like 250 health because of it, and then lose like tournament matches because of those plays. These explosive arms, anything from Nade to Seekie to Lockjaw and Glusher, they all have explosive properties. Certain exceptions do apply, but when you have a charged Nade, charged homie, charged Seekie, and your opponent snipes that arm for arm damage, normally with other arms it'll just weaken and fall down, but those charged ones will just blow up on the user's side and cause self-damage, self-harm, and especially with the Seekie where it's got that added electrical element, means that you paralyze yourself, you shock yourself, and you leave yourself open for combos.
Yeah,
Not only on top of that, but when you're punching pillars with those charged arms, if you're too close, that explosion can still affect you. So if you punch a nade into a pillar and you're right up in front of that nade, you're going to blow yourself up for 50 damage. If you hit the Seekie with that, or you hit with a rush, that explosion, that big radius that you see from Luna's Seekie rush, that can blow Luna up as well. And that can be the same can be said for all of the explosive arms, even Lockjaw or Glusher.
Yeah, it's a very risk-reward type of arm. It does a lot of damage, and the explosion can get people out deflects and rushes, but it also does self-harm, and that is no bueno.
This is definitely a really interesting stage. Lots of aggression going in here. It looks like one of your favorite, maybe the least favorite of the Tetraminos going in, and it kind of leads into that as well, with just like players having minimal space to work with. If you get advantage here, you have advantage. You have the high ground. Your opponent's probably locked into that ditch that you see there, and they have so little room to breathe, so little room to move, and it just works out so well. This is one of those stages where it's like, if you start winning here, you're winning. If you start losing, you're losing. And you desperately have to try to swing things back from there.
Luna is an aggressive Twin Tail with Seekie. I'm surprised that Tree didn't have the foresight to ban Via Dulce, because Via Dulce and Sparring Ring are probably the worst stages to be on against a very aggressive player. But Tree successfully connects that rush, very close to getting in that explosion radius of the Seekie, but luckily he dashed right out of it immediately after. Two successful grabs from Lunagab. Again, that rush pressure, and eventually he used Seekie Rush, which took him the set. Again, that rush bait is really killing Tree. This is best of...
That is best of 3, so that is best of over, as Lunagaz will be grabbing a nice spot in the comeback semifinals and awaiting his next opponent.
And I can confirm Tree is a controller player, but it would have been cool if he deserves more clout if he was motion.
Hey, motion is cool, but people are cool regardless of what they use. We're an open and loving community. You could use a single Joy-Con, we'd still call you cool. Actually, we'd call you... You'd be amazing if you were beating people in bracket with a single Joy-Con. I've tried it. It's possible, but it's hard and uncomfortable, and I don't recommend it.
People do it.
I don't recommend... You could use pretty much... Anything that works on the Switch works. Like, you can use a GameCube controller. I strongly recommend against using a GameCube controller, because you see all these beautiful colors? You don't get access to any of them, because that requires you pressing in the left stick, and GameCube controllers lack that.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about picking up a PowerA GameCube Pro controller, so you get the added benefit of having the debatably the best controller layout, and you get the functionalities of a Pro controller, home, and you get the left stick pressing, you get screenshots, you get everything, so you get best of both worlds. I was thinking about picking up one of those, found no. I don't know if there's been any GameCube controller players, because then they'd need to, the mapping feature was just added, so...
It wasn't just added, it's been here for at least a couple of years now. but it
Really?
was added later
Oh,
into the game.
I was thinking about the Switch. Yeah, in ARMS there is a mapping feature. I was thinking about the Switch itself.
Yeah. I do have a
Nothing
friend
has
in the
just
offline
added.
scene that plays with GameCube. I actually have a few people because ARMS in Alberta has a little bit more of a collection of players who come in from Smash, and that's already their comfortable play style. So it's like they come in, they just plug in their GameCube controller. I've already figured out what are optimal controls to make things work for them, so we just roll with that, and things are sailing.
Yeah, there is barely anything in New York. I've been trying to get some. I've been trying to get something at my local since we do have some players with clout, especially in Smash. And I was hoping we could get some coverage, but I don't know.
Haha, haha, ha, pandemic, ha ha ha, ha ha, ruined everything, ha 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 ha, ho 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 ho.
Uh, yo, I'm still salty about Smash and Splash. I was planning to go to that.
Smash and Splash. You're better off not going to that one, especially the one that was coming out. That's like, you don't want to touch that one. That was a big smelly one that was coming down the road.
Is ARMS at Evo? I don't. Is it even a side game?
That's also a big smelly one. Dude, no,
Evo is questionable nowadays. Nowadays, Evo is questionable. Yeah. So
Evo's been questionable for a while.
Well, yeah, but recently, what else is there? There's Smash Out. Smash Out is another.
Smash Out is very cool. Shout out to Smash Out. That is a part of the STL community, and you do see a lot of those players in here right now.
Yeah, and Hanukkah is not smelly. I can confirm he's not smelly. So that is a good tournament with not smelly people.
I have met him personally, and I have smelled him personally, and he's probably smelled me personally, and I'm probably smellier than he is. So if you think I'm a cool person, he's a very cool person. And we're going to see how cool he is as we're diving into our next match, where Hanukkah will be facing off against Landfrog. How's that for a transition?
A round of applause.
Alright, let's get into this.
Seem to be playing the same ARMS. Landfrog learning from his past mistakes and going not Guardian on sparring ring, which makes sense.
Yeah, it looks like he's definitely already cautious, especially with Hanukkah just being such a dangerous Twin Tail player. He knows to respect him right from the get-go. He's not even going to test the waters as he's seen the results with Luna Gabs with this exact same loadout, figuring things out. We're seeing the Chilla, we're seeing the Phoenix. Both can be really good. I feel like as much more safer as this probably is, I do still have that little frame of hope, that gleam of opportunity where if he just figured out how to make it work in this matchup, and he was showcasing it in that first round against Luna, I can see Guardian being an excellent tool to keep up against Twin Tail.
Yeah, maybe not on sparring, but you never know. I think it could work. I believe that first round with Guardian against Luna was a mausoleum, so possible counter pick.
We might see it later down the road, but right now what we're seeing is a quick stomping by Hanukkah, who is holding a huge lead, and Landfrog trying to bring a comeback with that rush. And now he's got rush disadvantage. That's a big difference that you'll see from players who, like, top-level players and players who are, like, just on the cusp. Like, there's a couple of things that you'll be able to tell when a player's, like, become, like, seriously competitive. And one of those is recognizing when they don't have a chance for comeback on top of using rush. Where it's like, if they do try to go for the comeback, they're going to go for the comeback after they've made a lot of trades that work out enough for the rush to make sense now. But generally, you'll see them, like, lose it out like that, and they'll just be like, I'm just going to hold on to the rush because this is pretty much gone. Like, they'll try to bring it back, but it's not, like, you're not going to see me at 10% health facing off against a full health opponent unless I'm just like, I don't want to get perfected. And that's all that's on my mind. Or it's like final round. Like, if Hanukkah was at KO, looking to KO Landfrog, and Landfrog needed to stay in this round, I could see him popping out the rush to try to stay alive. But in an occasion like that, it was probably a rough call. It was probably another one of those Lanfrock still learning about a lot of these interactions, a lot of these exchanges, and how to best play at his most optimal.
Yeah, and not to call myself a top player or on the cusp of being a top player, but after a good stomping, I definitely want to be rushed in that situation. But they were able, Luna or Hanukkah right there was able to get a rush off. I keep calling him Luna because they're using the same arms and the same alt skin of the same character.
So best skin color. We've got Trans Pride Twintel right here, repping me right now. Huge shout to Hanukkah for repping that Trans Pride for me, as he is stomping Lanfrog out.
Yeah.
One hit is all Hanukkah needs, and there's nothing Lanfrog can do here.
There was no hope, not even close. He had rush. There's 4 seconds left. He's in shield. Guardian was out. Even like 10 grabs couldn't do anything, and there was no way he's gonna get 10 grabs in 4 seconds.
I love the colors on Twintel. I love all the colors on Twintel. She's just a pretty character. And then you see other people make new skins and different types for her, like the Miku is Ribbon Girl, which is also really nice. I like all of the Ribbon Girl colors too.
Yeah, there was a Twintel mod recently, which
2 of them.
on Red great. Yeah. I think the best colors have to go to Tron and Bite and Bark though. They incorporate black with like a neon color so well. Like Bite and Bark has
fabulous.
black and orange and black and like a neon green, and then Tron has like his usual metallic with like a neon purple or just a regular purple and like a neon orange and like a really, really cool teal. So, you know, and on top of that, their base colors are just great.
I mean,
but
if we're talking about the best color, though, we already know what that is.
You can't top
Mechanica.
Twintel.
It's Pink Mechanica. Yeah. It's Kirby the best Mechanica. Color. It's got Kirby reference. It's got Diva reference. It's got Malieve reference because that's all I pick.
I would prefer camo, but you do you know.
Camo's
I love
Kirby and all color, and it clashes with everything around. It only looks good in temple grounds, and that's because it's camouflage in temple grounds.
No. You have the advantage because no matter what stage you're on, you can't see Mechanica. You can only see her face.
Well, that's the problem, though, is you don't get to appreciate the hard work and effort that Nico put into making her suit look amazing.
Would you rather have that?
We're not talking about competitive value of the skin. We're talking about aesthetic. If you can't see the thing, you can't appreciate it. So there's no point in it. Blue is cool because it looks nice and chrome. Pink is great because you get to see it. You get to see this. You get to see the orange hair of the Ninjara, and he looks fantastic. He was camouflaged. You can't appreciate him.
And now we see Lanfrog going with the worst Ninjara skin. Fight me on that.
No, this one's good.
Nah, the orange is ugly in my opinion, and I don't like this orange. But you do you. The orange on Bite and Bark, I think, is the best.
It's a little clashy, but at the same time, it's a very fun clash. I do enjoy the orange design. I like all the color setups. I wish there were more designs and things that were more than just like color swaps. But at the same time, like all the characters, like beyond like edgy Ribbon Girl, I like them all. And I only have a problem with edgy Ribbon Girl because it's amusing that she's got an edgy color scheme.
Yeah. Well, talking about bad color schemes, yellow Springman, there's no reason to go with that when you got pink-haired Springman. Worst all.
No, that Springman is so good.
I hate yellow.
It looks so good on him. What's not looking good right now is Lanfrog.
I knew it. You got the segue.
Phoenix, as Hanukkah again just calling him out, baiting out the rush, safely blocking it down, and is just kind of running with a 50% health lead. Currently looking for a chance to bring this back, but Hanukkah just keeping up this tempo, constantly poking down. We don't have any color symmetry between these characters and their arms, and that is a huge crime. But sometimes you need to win, and if it's at the expense of a little bit of fashion here, especially this late in bracket, I'm not going to blame them. Nice point going in for Hanukkah. We are now on match advantage, looking to take this to face on against Hanukkah take on Lunagabs. I mean, we could have Hanukkah facing off against himself, and it might as well be the case.
Yeah, Landfrog sitting on Rush, with the slight health advantage. But as we can tell, that doesn't really mean much when you're going up against this sheer amazingness that is Hanukkah Jamboree and his Twin Tail.
He is going to be able to utilize it well, as he does have a 60%. Hanukkah currently at 60% health, and
yeah,
now definitely in a position. Really wants to utilize Ninjara's movement. Just stay on the move. Make sure he doesn't get caught out by this stuff, because if he can just hold out that lead, it would give him so much more room to work with. But Hanukkah, with the successful rush, does have control back in his pocket and forces Landfrog to have to go back on the offensive.
That sheer awesomeness that I said was tested, and he did bring it back, although Landfrog does have a bit of a health advantage now, and the rush advantage, although Hanukkah not too far behind.
Nice block there. Let me just do this quickly. And right now, Hanukkah, just at a slight health deficit, has a lot to work with. He's going to be able to secure a nice rush, does bring himself back into the lead, and with a few seconds left on the clock, he's just looking to try to time this out. A nice catch with that rooster. Hanukkah has to make a play now, and Landfrog going to be able to take the point. Landfrog bringing the score to 1-1. He needs to keep this rolling. The Chilla Roaster combo definitely helping him out a little bit, giving him a bit more ground to work with. Normally, it's not the safest to go double glove, as it means that you're kind of leaning into the same thing, but it does mean that he also has different alternatives and more options on how these punches are coming in and what can happen when he lands those punches. Seeing how that round worked out, it isn't the worst choice, as he was able to take that point, and he's doing his pretty decent job of just dodging around Hanukkah's attacks, looking for a nice chance to go in for another poke. Hanukkah slowly building up a health lead and control. Out comes the rush. Landfrog going to successfully call out that dash, gets 275 damage, and has balanced out that health difference again. You can see he's being cautious. He knows that Hanukkah is coming in for the rush now. And that has so much coverage that Landfrog will not be able to dodge it if he's locked back against the wall or in a corner. Solid roaster hit does give him a little bit more room to work with, though, as he lands 140 damage. Out comes the rush. That is unavoidable. He takes 280. Balances out once again. Landfrog does just barely have a slight health deficit, it looks like, but if he can get just a single hit in or get this rush out in time, I could see this round becoming his. Nice dodge, very important. Trying to build that up.
Looking bleak for Landfrog, but he does have the
nice
rush.
call!
Oh my gosh!
And he's going to be able to walk it off! Landfrog hopping into a score of 1-1.
Timeouts and arms, unlike Smash and most fighting games, they are very, very hype. I think I would prefer to watch a timeout every single match in a tournament, because they come down to the wire. And unlike the 7 minutes in Smash, you only get 99 seconds, which, unlike Smash, you don't fill up those 99 seconds with stalling or camping. Most of those 99 seconds are used for pure action. And when it comes down to the wire, like it did right there, it is very, very hype.
I mean, you can still use it for stalling and camping if you really want to.
But
it's just that it's really hard to do in this game because of how small and enclosed the spaces are, and not really having. And jump doesn't, because of the 3D environment, jumps aren't a whole nother way to kind of move yourself around an opponent. Like, you can't, like in Smash, you can jump over your opponent and go to the other side, then you can jump over and go to the other side. Granted, I do want to make a note. Most people underrate how like there's a couple of cases in Smash where a zoning character might be a little boring because neither are really approaching. But a lot of that too is people aren't experienced in knowing how to handle that. A lot of that reason why is because a lot of the Smash scene is trained only in aggressive play. People don't know how to play defensively or respond to solid defensive play. So in a lot of cases, they just get lost and they just give up and they just stare at their opponent with spite and anger. Where instead, if they took the time to learn how to respond to defensive play and countermeasures, like, granted, it can get very annoying. I'm sure I'd get really aggravated. But it's like, if you're wanting to be a competitive player in a game, you need to respect these things. You need to respect the ability of another player who might just go to timeout you because they know they can. And if you don't have the patience, if you don't have the awareness to learn how to outwit an opponent who's zoning you and timing you out, if they win, they deserve that win then.
It's very hard
you're throwing.
to fill 7 minutes of Smash without camping. While in ARMS, as we saw right there, it's not out of the realm of possibility, and actually it comes very often that we see 99 seconds jam-packed of action, no camping to be seen.
I mean, what people would generally consider to be the most campiness of an ARMS match is if both players are going double gloves and then it's a boxing match. And that said, there's a lot going into a good boxing match, but when you don't understand that finesse, then it will look like zoning. It will just look like boring camping. It will look like the Sonic taunting on the side of the platform.
Now that was very bleak for Landfrog, almost a perfect on Haneka's part. Landfrog does have the rush advantage barely going into this next match, but and now going double glove. We'll see how this works. Both going for the pineapple grab, which is funny.
Hanukkah likely trying to just scare Landfrog into something, and the Landfrog likely trying to just capitalize on his rush. Didn't utilize it though. It could have been potentially a bait attempt from Hanukkah trying to just force the rush out before his is ready, so that he just has that advantage. Oh, but that's gonna go through the deflect, taking Landfrog's rush away. And this is an easy confirm for Hanukkah, taking it up. And that is just a monumental lead for Hanukkah here, who's just continuing to eat away at that arm health, weaken Landfrog's HP. Is just looking for a little bit more work to be able to take this points.
This might be a perfect, which would be crushing for Landfrog.
It would be super crushing because of the new customary thing that the ARMS community does, where you have to upload your perfects to twitter.com.
Dude, I had the audacity to ditto SU. I feel...
Yeah, he uploaded that fast.
Oh my gosh, it was like split seconds. I got like 3 notifications like this, you?
Out comes this rush. Hanukkah, he's not going to get the perfect. He didn't want to try to swing for it.
But you never know, Landfrog could bring this back. But with 15 seconds left, I think Hanukkah could just like put his controller down. Landfrog isn't close to rush.
Yeah, the only way for Landfrog to be able to bring this back is if he goes with speedrun timing and just like constantly getting perfectly timed punches, and we're not seeing that. Couple more hops for Landfrog to say goodbye. And Hanukkah will be walking away with the 2-1 lead.
Very good job to both players, though. Really, everyone in this tournament is just absolutely insane levels of greatness, of awesomeness.
Very superb. Very much fantastic.
ARMS? If you play ARMS, let alone actively compete in competitive tournaments, you are awesome. Specifically you watching this are awesome.
That's not 100% consistent. I can't. There's a couple of cases where I would strongly disagree with that, but for the most part,
we're trying to keep a clean record. No need to bring those people up. Okay.
No scene is pure. No scene is honest. Everyone's got their dirt. You look under my bed. There's skeletons there.
I'd say ARMS is like pretty close to being relatively pretty close to being pure though, because
no.
Relatively, I think we're a pretty good community. Not pure, but a pretty good community compared to a lot of other communities.
I mean, if you're talking about these comparisons off of Smash and the recent allegations that they've come up with, then yeah, we're gonna look really clean. But so
Yeah.
is everybody else. Like Smash's most scenes are generally pretty good. I've dabbled in a few of them. Most of them are overall pretty solid. There's a lot of toxicity that can roll around in them, but for the most part, they're kind of on par with where ARMS has
yeah,
been
but
before.
pre 2020, all I could think of is a certain.
This game got dirt. I'm buying it right now. Let's go.
I mean, pre 2020, all I could think of as like a bad part of a community is a certain player that starts with an S and ends in an O. But I think
Are you talking about Seth Mitchell? Because Seth Mitchell is definitely the most evil and corrupted player in the ARMS scene.
With Seth Mitchell, then yes.
Just absolutely filthy. I do believe we've got a couple of ads coming up, so we're gonna dust that away. We're gonna put it under the rug for a moment while we talk about some cool things in low kick esports and the ARMS scene. Oh, okay. Oh, fine. Well, fine. We won't do the grand.
Ads will be before Grand's stream. Now they can hear me. So be ready to get hit with the unblockable, like 10 or so ARMS slides that I have.
Well, I'm the unstoppable, so there's no problem there. Since we're not doing ads right now, but I will do a quick ad right here. You look over underneath our names, we've got Twitter handles, at _Spenjo_. Lots of underscores, but you can go follow him on Twitter.
It's very
you can
not
follow
Discord friendly.
No, names are kind of not user friendly in most places.
Yeah,
and then you can follow me at Planet Scrapstar.
Planet Scrapstar is where it's at.
Sometimes.
But yeah, most people think my name is at Spenjo in italics. I have to explain to them that it's a __ because at Spenjo was taken by somebody named Joe Spencer. So,
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Malieve is taken too, which is unfortunate, but that just means that I've got my brand account and I'm just like, it's just the same thing. Like, it's technically a company, but the company is just me and maybe some volunteers. I wish I had people I had hired, but it's me and volunteers, so it's like, the company is me, you know me, maybe it's the slightly more professional side of me, but it's still just me, so it's like...
Yeah, Polaris was taken by like, what is it? Some kind of like mowing company or something like that. And so when you look up Polaris Arms, unfortunately, our Twitter comes up, the first one, which is at Polaris Arms, but the second one is just like part for said lawnmower, which is unfortunate. You gotta scroll down to find the mod.
Gives them a little bit of love too. Like, that's a hard thing about making team names too, is there's a lot of cases where it's just taken. Like, I'm lucky because Planet Scrapstar is like a solid name.
It's a
Nobody
very
takes it.
name.
Malieve is somewhat
think
common.
Malieve
There's
is
a lot of
unique.
places where it's open, but there's a few places where that's taken. So
Yeah,
it's
I'm
like,
surprised that was taken on Twitter. Polaris wasn't my first choice because I know a couple Polaris esports. I liked Ursa, but Polaris is where it's at. I like it. Unfortunately, it's a little common.
and where we are at right now is Winter Finals. Steelhead going to be trying to take on a Twin 5-0 in this epic bout. Both of them are essentially unstoppable fortresses here, both very well known for being really good at defensive play.
An immovable force meets an unstoppable force.
No, they're both immovable forces. We've got two immovable
okay.
forces going in here. Steel's
Oh,
gotten a lot better at approaching and pressuring, but he generally likes to keep his distance, which we're seeing a lot of right now. And Twin, exact same thing. He knows how to approach, he knows how to pressure more effectively than he used to in the past. But generally, you're going to see a lot of these two just practicing social distancing and keeping your distance, making sure that we are using the full extent of these arms so that if either party does actually have it, it's not spreading to the other side, fortunately. Shout out to these two fabulous people, unlike me, who is very aggressive and up in the face. I do not practice social distancing in this game. These two, though, much nicer.
Yeah, well, Twin really likes to get in your face while in shield. Whether that shield acts as a protection from COVID, you never know. But Twin taking that round, that dragon is just immovable, not unstoppable, immovable.
I mean, they're both unstoppable and they're both immovable, if we're gonna be
okay.
really real about it. But yeah, it's Twin with a really nice hit confirm off of that dragon, just following up with the Biffler just coming out the speed of light, immediately following up with that rush and just allowing him to juggle Steel down and take a really good first point. Steel responding, he's not going to get a serious amount, but 180 off of the Kablamer is still
Kablamer rush
number.
Is the best at juggling, unfortunately.
But it's good at making big numbers, and we are seeing some of those big numbers as he is punching Twin down.
We like to see big numbers. Twin in the health deficit, but he does have rush. And Biffler is very good at juggling, so you never know. We could see a big number. A little less health deficit, both sitting at rush though. And
nice
that rush
catch.
will
It's not
connect.
gonna kill.
Something that Steelhead just did there was and he takes it with the grab. He knew he's going into shield immediately off wake up. But something that Steel did there with rush is he waited to use that Kablamer just in case Twin was able to slither his way out of that rush. So he led with nade and then went the Kablamer, using the safe route, even though he could have gotten a bigger number potentially if he went the Kablamer.
Actually, that was an optimized timing. If he goes in to try to go for 2 punches with the Kablamer, there's a lot of cases where if it's not perfectly set up and his opponent isn't backed up into a literal corner, the nade will start whiffing and he won't get the finishing touch off of that, which would mean he'd get a lot less damage. Like, generally, when you've got a mono arm like the Kablamer going in for rush, and you've got a flurry arm like the nade, you generally wait until the finishing touch is about to come out, and then you throw out the mono arm to be able to maximize damage.
And this is why you're a figurehead of the community. You know so much more.
Let's figurehead, more just ego. Nice rush coming out, but Twin gonna safely recognize it, blocks it out with the shield. It's just looking for a good opportunity. It is that whiff to grab.
Rush. And Twin takes it with that amazing Ice Dragon Rush. Ice Dragon Rush, it's not that hard to hit, or it's not that easy to hit, but once you do, especially mixed with Biffler, it does a lot of damage.
When you know how to line that shot up too, it is so devastating, so scary.
Yeah, and Steel obviously knew how to line up his rush as well.
Mm-hmm. Alright, and with that, Twin going to be taking that first point. I'm expecting that Steel's going to be doing his darnest to take us somewhere nice and close. A little bit more personal to try to make sure that Twin 5-0 does not have that chance to chase him away. I mean, yeah, the problem with that's the problem with a 4-letter name for a thing. It's gonna contend. Like it's the name of this game is based off of a literal part of the body.
Yeah.
And that part of the body's been around longer than this game, so it's gonna have some competition.
Nintendo tried their darndest to make this game fail right off the bat, but we have thrived until 2020.
I mean, they tried. They just it was like a genuine effort, but if the genuine effort you rolled a 3. You're like, I did my best, but it was like a really bad number and we just kind of didn't work out.
The participation award goes to Nintendo.
And let's head back into the match as we do have Steelhead and Twin 5-0 coming back into this next round. It looks like we are going to be going to Mausoleum. Hang on. Looks like I've got improvisation, so I'll do. Oh, there we go.
There
We
we
do
go.
have the Steelhead starting off with that lead. Mausoleum definitely working out as it helps him just keep that distance a little more efficiently. Nice rush coming in. He's going to get 300 damage. And he's just looking for a little bit more of a lead in, especially with Twin having the arm down. He's just looking for a stray blast.
Steel coming out of nowhere with this insane lead. Twin, I think, will save Rush until he brings it, unless he brings it back, which he might, and he doesn't.
Won't.
But yeah, he was going to save Rush basically. Still about 75% way through Rush meter right now. That Dendy grab doesn't really work too well on Mausoleum, unfortunately.
It's a little too spacious. Steel was able to quickly anticipate it and punished it. Thinks he has a chance for the rush, and it's a max range. He's not going to get the finishing touch, but does get 200 damage nonetheless.
Yeah, but if he didn't use rush, that dragon would have gotten him. So that was probably the best thing he could have done.
Actually, he could have optimized it a little bit more, if we want to talk about that quickly. So there is a little bit of stall time after you started your confirm, where he could pause during the rush, dash forward, and continue the chain. And that would have allowed him to secure more damage. That said, you have to be really on point with your timing. Otherwise, your opponent might be able to recover and bring out the shields. And I don't think he really needs to worry about that too much, as he's currently holding another really good lead against Twin. Those numbers might not make the difference here, as he just needs to make a good call-out. Twin gonna get the better call-out here, though, and is just quickly bursting through Steel's health. Now just looking for a KO opportunity off of this rush.
Yet again, your knowledge is unrivaled.
No, it's rivaled. There's people that know this game better than me.
Oh, alright. You are unrivaled in the knowledge of other people's knowledge of this game.
Sure. 10 seconds left on the clock. A nice grab attempt.
That grab will almost, I think.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do here. And he's going to get blasted right in the face. Point blank Ice Dragon.
My sentence, just in case Steel came out with the insane, like, out of nowhere grab and took it. But Steel basically at rush. Yeah, just one more deflect. Got that. Twin almost at rush. Steel probably wants to keep rush just to pressure, or he's going to use rush before he can get it. But he was able to biffler his way out of it.
Steel just wants to stop this clowning around, but Twin just continued to make a goof out of him with these punishes and plays. Another freeze, and he's gonna follow up with the confirm. Doesn't get the Ice Dragon, and Steel immediately like, oh, hey, let me get a grab out of this moment and immediately be back on the offensive.
Yeah, I don't know too much about grabbing while you're ice chained, especially when your opponent has rush. But this comeback mode and the rush could do so much.
Well, it's not though.
Still in play though. You never know. It's called comeback mode for a reason.
Steel just looking for 2 solid exchanges if he can get those.
And that,
but it's going to be a grab called out by the dragon, and this is 2-0 Twin's favor. Steel had a good start, a good opening, but once Twin started warming up to the exchanges coming in at this range, he's just like, oh, yeah, I'll just push you away again, and now you lose. And lo and behold, Steel loses.
And
we do have
one more. So Steel could bring this back in the set or the game or the matches, whatever you'd like to call it. Set, right? Because it's like
yeah. This would be that was the second set. We're heading into the third one.
What would you call a best of 5 set then? Like
that would still be a set. Like the ending result. The ending result is the match.
All right. Okay.
If you win like the score is 2-1, you won 2 out of 1 sets. If it's a best of 5, you won 3 out of 2 sets, or
I would
3 out of both sets.
I won the match against Tree, 2 out of the best of 5 set.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Sorry.
I mean, technically that's not accurate because you said you won 2 sets. You beat Tree with 2 sets in a best of 5. There's still a set missing. So you're gonna have to go back in bracket. You're gonna have to fight Tree again.
Don't correct me. Just
get back in there, boy. Diving right back into Mausoleum. Steel gonna give this another shot. This is probably one of his better stages that are available. That said, it's still very open, a lot of room, and a lot of opportunities for Twin just to dance around the stage and utilize little movement.
A lot of room for that dragon as well.
Finally sees his opportunity, gets that brass grab. He needs to keep this chase going because as soon as Twin is able to get advantage again, that's probably going to be it for him.
Oh my gosh, this pressure is actually insane. This wake-up pressure against Twin from Steel. But now Twin has Rush.
So does Steel, both looking for their chance. He's just going to throw it out, doesn't want to get freeze chained, and is going to get punished as a result. Twin in a very advantaged place. You can tell Steel trying to just make sure he does not play himself into any kind of KO chance. Oh, that's going to weaken him a little bit. Twin just looking for another opportunity. That freeze is going to lead into a clean grab, but the deflect coming off of that wake up forces Twin to have to throw out the rush.
What happened there was he went into, whenever he goes into big boy mode, he has a deflect, and right as he came out of the freeze, he went into big boy mode, deflecting that grab, I think it was.
Yeah, that it activated. The freeze only held out for a few seconds. That enrage came in. Brass got that deflect armor, but then he dived into Twin's rush. And he's currently diving into a lot of Twin's plays as he is just getting, again, clowned upon as Twin is holding a huge health lead and quickly forces Steel into enrage. And he's going to close it out with this rush, just denying him any chance to take this.
He closes out the set with absolute annihilation, and Twin takes the match. Thank you. I know words. Thank you. I've ascended.
You're using my lingo. It's technically speaking, I will just let you know, I'm the only one that uses it. I believe everybody else calls the grand overarching thing, like, that would be just called the set. What happened, like, a lot of other people on the ARM scene would say, like, that was a 3-0 sweep set, and that's it. Like, they wouldn't call that a match, and they'd call, like, the single points matches or something like that. Everybody terms things differently. I'm just going off of the tennis rules, and I'm just being maybe a little obsessive over it.
Yeah. Now we got my lingo, we got Malieve lingo, we got.
I mean, everybody's got lingos. Everybody's got some lingo.
If we're using tennis rules, just like in the middle of a match, I'll be like 15. Love all Springman and Believe with that love.
I mean,
I don't know
who doesn't love Springman? Who doesn't Springman love? Springman definitely loves all. Like, you're not wrong there.
My tennis knowledge is Mario Tennis, Aces, and Wii Tennis.
Yo, we could run with this. So it'd be like Brass love all, Quill would be hate all.
Gotta love.
All right, we add time. Let's go. We're going to be talking about things that are cool that you should support, like the Low Kick podcast. They got it every Saturday at 5 p.m. Central Time Zone. Low Kick podcast. Definitely check them out. Talk about fighting games. Talk about gaming. Talk about cool stuff. You like cool stuff, don't you?
I love cool stuff. You guys should too.
And on the note of cool stuff, we do have Low Kick continuing with next week on Tuesday. We've got Under Night and Birth. Good old game. I really love it dearly. It's something that I would love to get competitive in one day, but I don't have the time, energy, or the ability to focus enough to be able to put the time and effort into it right now. So maybe sometime down the road. Still, really cool game. Go check it out. bracket will be coming up for that later on down the road if it's not already there, which, there it is. Go sign up. Of course, just a reminder, subscribing, donating, helps out the TOs and streamers for Low Kick Esports. They don't get enough love. I'm saying that as a streamer and commentator. It's very rare for me to see an event where I get money out of commentating. And that's a lot of that is because most of these efforts are all just like, all commentators generally do their stuff out of love. It is very rare and very hard to be a commentator and make money off of it. So be sure to donate, give some support, subscribe to these people. Helps them help other people. And it's all greatly appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if you want to help the players instead, which don't blame you, there's very cool people in there that maybe would like to make a little bit of money. There's a Matcherino link in chat. Just follow that. A couple of little things that you can do in there to donate and help just give some free money to that prize pot. We are currently at $24 and climb that a little bit more. If everybody in chat just hopped in, there's a little survey there that you can fill out that pokes in a bit more money. Anything helps, and these players would greatly appreciate it if you went and did that. Of course, we do have other things going on in the ARMS community. We've got the Confectionery Clash comes up every Saturday, except the one coming up in a couple of weeks because the ARMS NA Open is rolling at that time. But beyond that, runs MLM style, which means that you've got a round groups split into 4 brackets for a round-robin pool that follows up into single elimination brackets. And if you can find your way through to make first, second, or even third place, smooth going in for you. So if you're one of those players who want to make some bank off of your competitive play and get some PR points while you're at it, sign up. Of course, if you want to get PR points otherwise, there's also Network Era, which has multiple events going into the NAPR. There's a couple of them that go into the EU community as well. And on top of that, they've got a couple of other things. She's got a couple of other things going on there as well, including a default-only bracket, which used to be pretty common. You don't see it too much anymore these days, but definitely check her out. There's the Discord link on the screen. Cool times to be had.
Oh, my favorite. Low-res Polaris.png.
We agreed it's high quality.
Basically, we're a server, and the best way to get better at this game, especially at a mid to top level, you could go in depth with the coaches. We have a coaching system with the best players for each character on it. We also have one of the most active friendly scene. Just hop in, play a match or 2 or 50. I prefer 50. And on top of that, just a great community. So, hop in if you want to. I'll be posting that link in chat.
And of course, all of this, or most of it, is going under the NA Online Season 4. You're getting PR points. These people are getting points or competing in this bracket to make it to the top 8 for this. Compete in the Invitational that will be following up. Matcherino link there as well. There's not any little small donation ways that you can sneak in right now. I should probably get around to that. I'm sorry I haven't. But otherwise, if you'd like to donate and give these players a bigger prize pool to follow up with, just follow that link, check things out. What can also lead to some of these other events if you're missing out on them by any chance. And last but not least, self-shill to myself as I run tournament series. If you're looking for ARMS, I run a bi-weekly event. Depends on what's going on. It can be something like the standard double elimination backroom tournament. But with the August season, we are going to be seeing a couple of different things. If you're interested in checking out some different change of pace, like maybe a Snake Park only tournament. If you're interested in one of those, definitely stay in tuned and keep an eye on battlefy.com/planettrapstar. I will also note, if you're interested in other games as well, generally things from indies, or smaller companies, maybe even Rocket League, which we just had, or Ninjala later down the road, definitely check out the group, because we've got tournaments for that stuff too. And I believe last but not least, we do have the bi-weekly Nope, this isn't the last. But we do have the bi-weekly procrastination, which is really interesting tournament series. It spans about the duration of a week. You sign up at the start, and you just kind of go through the matches as you feel like. You schedule things out with your opponent. You're like, are you free tomorrow? They're like, I'm free after 6. And you're like, cool, let's play after 6. You play your match, you move in the bracket, contact your next person. Hey, when are you free? And they're like, I'm never free. And you're like, all right, great. And you contact the TO, and they're like, all right, you both play like in 10 minutes. And they're like, all right, fine, I guess. It's cool stuff. Go check it out. And then last but not least, we've got the player Steelhead, who is in comeback finals right now waiting for his foe. He runs his own stuff as well, the Steel Trap, which is a standard double elimination backroom tournament. It's had a lot of really hype moments recently, and it's had some prizes. No, it hasn't. I think he's trying to look at getting prizes for it. But it's cool, it's hype, lots of fun, very intense, very energy, lots of energy. Energy is good. Check them out, you'll get energy.
Energy is good.
Especially in Pokemon. That's how you need energy in your deck. Reminder to everybody, this is not a sponsor, but drink water. Stay hydrated, especially when it's really hot out. It's really hot out. Heading into this, we are going to be diving in both Twin Tails Hanukkah versus Luna Gabs. These two will be duking it out for their shot at getting revenge against Steelhead. And they'll be diving in with the exact same loadouts on top of that, Triblast and Chakram. These two arms are some of the best in this game. You can just see why with how quick these things come out, how much coverage, how much pressure you can apply with these things, and that rush is just devastating. Luna's going to be coming out first, 270 damage, starting off with that advantage. Hanukkah seeing a chance of his own, but it's going to be safely blocked out. Not even a shield break. It's going to allow Luna to hold out a very nice advantage in those exchanges.
Yeah, both are really keeping their distance. It's kind of hard to have an advantage other than just skill when you're playing the same character with the same exact loadout. Not gonna lie, it's kind of hard to know who is who with such a small text, but I'm managing. But Luna will take it out with that Tri-Blast explosion as the last hit of Rush.
Speaking of managing, yeah, Luna going to be able to secure a good rush there. That does mean that Hanukkah has the rush advantage coming into this next one. But Luna starting off with a good opening, puts Hanukkah at that back heel and needing to find a chance to throw in the aggression. Out comes the rush, another good call for Luna. Not going to be able to dodge it forever and takes 90 damage.
On top of shield. Chip.
Mm-hmm. If Luna sees a good chance for rush, he can definitely put this back in advantage. You can see he's trying to bait something out. Hanukkah not going to be able to dash back like Luna was, but
oh wow,
damage still just not going to be enough. And Hanukkah going to be standing with like 1 or 2 chips of health left on that shield. Oh, there's another disarm, and Hanukkah fully recovering off of both of those disarms. He is fine, A-okay, and not a second worried.
They're both such top-level Twin Tails that it's so hard to use Rush because of Actus Aura other than baiting it. So, because of Actus Aura, like we saw before that first Rush in the first round, he was able to shield when the Rush was coming because of Actus Aura.
Alright, this isn't going to have as much coverage, but Luna making a change, putting that toaster on. It's going to be a little more direct. Might be able to contend with that Chakram a little bit more efficient in the boxing regard, but he's definitely going to be losing out on a lot of rush pressure and damage out of this.
Mm-hmm.
This might be a bit easier for Hanukkah to bait out. Nice dodge. Hanukkah just trying to find a way to get that rush out of him, and he's going to be able to successfully evade, barely taking any chip on top.
Hanukkah now has rush.
And the health lead.
Rush pressure. So this could for Luna, just because simply gets rushed, but he is not down. Luna could get rushed. Hanukkah rush. Luna
Luna looking for this chance, looking for his opportunity. Out comes the rush. It's going to be on the knockdown, so unfortunately, Luna not going to be able to follow up with that, as that ball just a little too fast for him to be able to work with the confirm.
Yeah, I stand corrected. It is very close now.
No, this is Hanukkah's. There's nothing Luna could do there to be able to bring things back. As even if Luna chose to shield, the chip damage would have been more than enough to put Hanukkah at lead. And Luna just didn't have the movement options in that position to be able to respond and evade.
The second he got the rush, it was over.
And with that, Hanukkah taking that first set point, putting himself at match advantage. I do believe that this is best of 3 still. This will be our last best of 3 of the bracket.
Yeah.
So all he's looking for is one more victory to be able to dunk Luna Gab, to turn Luna Gabs into Luna Dunks, and advance to get that chance at revenge against Steelhead.
Yeah, the Twin Tail Ditto matchup is very,
volatile.
Yeah.
Whoever gets advantage is just like advantaged. It's frustrating because you're like, oh, I'm in advantage. Now I'm gonna play patiently. I'm gonna wait things out. I'm gonna keep an eye on what you're doing, and you're gonna have to be the one making all the calls. How do you like that? And the opposing Twin Tail is like, I really don't like this. Until they make 1 or 2 good trades, and they're like, aha, now I have the advantage. What are you going to do about it? And you're like, shucks.
Yeah, the moment one Twin Tail gets advantage, they could just kind of act the Sora and get the corner and dominate.
Yeah. Starting off with that lead, so we are seeing him quickly take advantage of that, slowing things down, and just, the Twin Tail Mirror is so much of a win more. Whoever is holding the lead just feeds more and more damage into their opponent, unless the other Twin Tail knows how to poke well enough, which, at this level, you're going to figure that out.
And Hanukkah getting that successful rush, very well executed. Lunagabs, I think, will just keep this rush for next round. It seems that health surplus is a little bit too much, even with Chakram Tri-Blast.
I mean, unless he gets a good confirm or sees a nice chance like that, and he does manage to land the rush that is balancing out that health. Hanukkah does have rush slowly building up, but if Luna is just keeping this pressure up, I don't think Hanukkah will be able to get it up in time.
Oh, wow.
We're going to see Luna be able to turn that around.
You know, that is... The competitive players in this game, top players, are just so well that it's kind of hard to commentate them because you never know what they're going to do. You know, and obviously he did the unexpected and he brought it back.
It's easy to forget how much damage a rush does. Like, you look at those health differences, you're like, oh, there's such a big chunk. There's no way the comeback can happen. But, like, if Luna just lands a rush and blocks Hanukkah's rush, that would balance it out. Just that one trade put him back in even ground with Hanukkah again. Like, it really does not take much in a lot of cases.
Each character has 1,000 health, and most rushes do around 250 to 400. So right there we saw 360.
360 no scope right there.
Yeah, I mean, technically it was a no scope. He didn't have a scope.
Yeah, nobody here has a scope, so see, it works. But we do have Luna just about ready with another rush, just trying to survive, but they're not going to live long enough there. We do that is still a 1-1 score. That means both players will be coming in with a rush for this next opportunity.
Yeah. If Hanukkah takes this last one, then he'll be going into losers finals. Luna Gabs is the first to get rushed, but doesn't really matter since Hanukkah gets it immediately after. Luna is also the first one to use it and gets a nice 260 rush onto Hanukkah. Hanukkah is most likely going to keep... I'll shut up. I'll just shut up.
You're doing fine. You're doing fine, love. Deep breath. Keep it going. Keep the words rolling. You got this. I believe in you.
Yeah, they're way... I could never beat them in this game. I've come close with Luna Gabs, but he beats me every time. He obviously knows a lot more about this game, knows what to do.
Nice dodge from Hanukkah. Sometimes just understanding the mechanics and being able to explain them is all you really need to do. Everybody's got their place in a scene. For some people it's commentary, some people it's competing, and some people it's managing brackets. And right now, these two are currently doing some pretty good job at running through this bracket, as Hanukkah just has a KO opportunity coming in with this rush. He just needs to find the read.
Hanukkah is a great TO and a great player, so mad respect. Speaking of Hanukkah, he does have the rush. Luna Gabs, oh, there you go. And the
Luna Gabs does not have the rush. In fact, he does not even have a life.
Yeah, he's dead. He's in the grave. Hanukkah is in finals, losers finals.
Arm seems kind of... Go ahead.
Well, I have the habit of saying most likely, as in this is what I would most likely do, but I don't know what these people are thinking.
There's no better way to learn, though. I'm gonna something amusing that I'm kind of thinking about with Steel saying, for me, it's all three. It's like, there's a lot of people that are like all three, like... Steelhead does the stuffs, Hanukkah does the stuffs, I do the stuffs.
I mean, technically, I'm all three as well, but I don't know if I'm good in either category.
Well, no, yes, you do the three, but I'm talking about specifically, like, people who can take tournaments, people who, like, really have a good understanding enough to communicate and explain interactions in a tournament, and people who are, like, confident and have a solid understanding on how to organize and run tournaments. Technically, for, like, Hanukkah and me, it's 4 things because we have both online and offline, but it's like... But, like, that's kind of what I mean. It's like, there's a lot of people on the ARM scene, like, who have, like, you can just kind of you're like, hey, you. And they're like, what about me? And they're like, go do this thing. And they're like, okay. And they go do the thing. And you're like, all right, good. Now go do this thing. Now that you've done setting up the tournament, now go compete. And they're like, okay. And then it's like, if you get knocked out, we'll get you on commentary. They're like, sure. But they don't get knocked out. And they're like, I'll just commentate while competing. And you're like, sure, I guess. And then you commentate while competing, and the people are like, this person's really good at commentating. And they're like, they're competing too. And you're like, what? And then they get asked a TO question while they're competing, and they just, like, explain the TO rule and what happens and everything. You're like, I'm sorry, you can't do all 3 in a single moment.
Yeah, see, I can never take a big tournament. I have recently been grinding. I've gotten better. I could definitely say that. But I don't think I'll ever be able to take a big tournament. I've taken a couple small tournaments, but nothing huge.
If I can just, like, it's not a humble brag, it's just full-on gloating. One of my favorite things that I've done in the past is, looks like we're going to sparring, so we'll get that going right away. Like, one of my favorite things that I've done before is I'll be competing in a bracket, and I'll do commentary for it too, and I'll be explaining what my opponent is doing, and so on and so forth, and they'll get mad at me, because they're like, dude, stop calling me out on the stream while you're pummeling me.
Wow, I can never do that.
That's me being a bully, though.
For me, it's bad enough to play, let alone play and commentate.
It's so fun, though.
I did have to commentate Anti-Polaris Punch-Out, which had 80 people. That was it went smoothly, and that's not a humble brag, but I was melting afterward. Oh my gosh. I slept for like 13 hours, I think, the night of Punch-Out. It's definitely mad respect to you and Steel and Hanukkah and everyone else, because that was one night was hard enough.
Mm-hmm. Alright, let's head into the comeback finals. We've got Hanukkah facing off against Steelhead. Looking to try to get a little bit of revenge coming back to the sparring ring. This is his hope. This is his grace. He was able to take a point off of Steel before here, but... Actually, no, wait. What was it? Did Steel do better here? Well, Steel did do better everywhere overall, and we're seeing a response to that too, with Hanukkah changing things up, putting the Chakram away. He's coming in with the Coolerang, a much cooler arm, a much nicer arm, and it allows for a lot of good shield pressure. Those freeze mix-ups can do some good work. But when Brass is enraged, Steel has those double nades rolling. It can still be a very dicey, a very difficult place for Hanukkah to work from. As we are seeing Steel trying to generate rush, build himself into a position to lead into a KO, and Hanukkah just trying to get the kill beforehand, and he's just barely going to be able to. Steel responding, recognizing that curve arm is causing him a lot of trouble, so he's going to put on one of his better counter arms with that Kablammer. One of the downsides is just it's a little slow, and if you're not calling out the direction that it's coming from as well, the Kablammer is not going to be doing too much to protect and will oftentimes leave Hanukkah or Steelhead nice, vulnerable, and weak. So it's all about making those right calls, making those reads, and staying patient to get that damage out of the Kablammer. This round starting off much more in Steelhead's favor as he is quickly stomping down Hanukkah.
Yeah, the Kablammer seems to be changing something. I wouldn't think it would be faring too well against Actress Sora, but what do I know? And that very tiny, probably like a pixel inside that explosion radius, and that takes him out.
Heading into this next round, Steel definitely making some good work with that Kablammer, setting himself up well. And is quickly diving in with another advantage, 50% health lead. And he's got that rush ready. He's just looking for a chance to be able to get the KO here.
Neither person wants to be the first one to use rush because that means they would be pressured into hell, but I feel like Hanukkah has no choice.
Needs to.
Yeah. Which means that Steel would be in the advantage, even if he does successfully the rush. This explosion is just doing so much. Hanukkah on Magic Pixel, Steel basically at a perfect until that rush connects, but it's not going to do too much. 45 seconds left. Steel has a huge health lead. One more hit and he'll take it, and he has rush, but instead he uses that rush pressure to grab. And Steel will take it 1-0. This next match, I'm not expecting any changes. Obviously, a stage change will most likely happen. And,
I can see us going back to sparring again. Sparring can arguably work. A lot of it is just like, right now, Steel's making better calls. He's making better reads on Hanukkah. And for sparring ring to work, Hanukkah needs to be able to start making those calls.
Yeah, I think Hanukkah will maybe go to another stage and then try and read Steel. Because I think at this point, there's no counter pick to Steel. I think he just needs to be the better player in this case.
Mm-hmm. Also, spend your check messages.
Let's see here.
Alright, it looks like we've got our next stage set up. Just looking for these two ready back into the ring, and we do have Viadolsh going in for the next stage. This does give Steelhead an opportunity to buff up at the start, but if Hanukkah can just reply once or twice well enough, this can be some just solid pressure and can allow Hanukkah to get that chase that he's been looking for from sparring ring. Starting things off, neither player finding their way in, both just seeking that opportunity. Hanukkah with a nice dodge to the side is going to be able to capitalize on that. Now has that advantage, trying to make sure that Steel doesn't get that buff. But we do see Steel finding the opportunity, loses it to the freeze, and this stage working out really well for Hanukkah right now, who's constantly just catching him out on these chances and has him backed into that little ditch via Doshe.
Yeah, both have rush. Yet again, it comes down to the scenario of not wanting to be the first one to use rush. But Steel in this case, it's reversed. Steel might either want to save it or be the first one to use it. Yep, and there we go. He has to use that in order to have any chance. Not almost tying it up, but he's gotten closer. But Hanukkah still has a pretty sizable advantage, and with the rush. But explosions do so much damage that he's almost tied it up just with one hit in explosion.
There's another one, but that leap in the air is going to be an easy punish. Hanukkah not giving him the chance of day to try to punish that out. Gets the KO, but that does also mean that Steelhead's going to be diving into this next one with Rush readily available.
Yeah, for those who don't know, jumping and grabbing or double punching, or both separate against somebody with Rush is kind of a death sentence, since you can't really use shield, and if you jump you can't have shield, and if you grab or double punch, you neither have shield or any defenses to punch away arms or grab, so you could just get rushed super easily. Right there, Steel predicts their shield and grabs. Tries to grab again, but Actosaurus saves Hanukkah's Tooketh.
We do have Hanukkah now at the advantage, looking to try to keep this rolling, but he doesn't have much health to work with, and Steelhead only needs one good trade. Hanukkah needs a couple of good trades in his favor and that rush to be able to take Steel out. You can see Steel just trying his hardest to play things patiently. That is going to be a good opening, though, and now Hanukkah has a kill chance. He just needs to find a way in, and Steel punching will be that answer. Hanukkah brings it to 1-1.
It is tied up 1-1. Really goes to show how even these players are. They're keeping their distance. If one player kind of becomes more aggressive, the other one keeps their ground and tries to push them back, and most of the time they're able to have sort of like an even playing field. In that instance, though, Hanukkah was able to tie it up because he got Steel in that corner and just kind of got in his head.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these times it comes down to who has rush. Rush really, really is the main component of this game, who wins. Sometimes it's not even about skill, because rush is just that important. I'm sure skill helps.
Heading back into things, Steelhead will be taking us over to sparring ring. It has been working like a charm for him. This can be a little contentious. If that little bit of tempo is going to give Hanukkah anything, this could be a good turnaround for him to be able to take Steel back out. But it really depends on what kind of calls he's able to make from here. Starting things off, both players quickly building some rush, just feeling each other out, finding their first exchange to set either end up with advantage. And it's going to be Hanukkah taking that lead, and now just trying to keep Steel at bay, keep these pokes going, make sure that he does not get that buff up. And so far, it's working out to a T.
Yeah. You realize that once he gets buffed, he's able to become so much more aggressive. But once he gets the rush, I feel like getting big boy form will be much easier. He's going to get that knockdown off of rush, a good 385 damage, and now he's in big boy Brass.
He's got that enrage. He's got that buff build up. It's only going to last for so long, though, and Hanukkah successfully trading him out.
He wasn't able
has
to
him
get
just above critical, but Hanukkah not too far from it himself.
Yeah, Hanukkah does have rush, but he's in range where a couple explosions will take it for Steelhead.
You can see Hanukkah doing his best to find a moment to slip in with the poke. He's going to be able to set Steelhead into critical, but he's waited so long that Steel also has rush already as a result. So it is very much just waiting for this chance. That is going to put Steelhead at health advantage. And Hanukkah has to make the play now. He has to make the call. He's going to go for the rush. And Steelhead trying to contend and will not be able to as that Cooler Rain clashes with the Kablammer. Something that we haven't brought up yet that should probably be made note of. When Rush is activated, so you've probably noticed by now that certain arms are heavier than others and will punch through. Tri-Blast is outweighed by the Nade, Kablammer outweighs the Tri-Blast, the Nade, and the Cooler Rain, etc., etc. But when Rush happens, all those weights go up by a level. So the Tri-Blast becomes a medium weight arm, and the Cooler Rain becomes heavy, which means that Cooler Rain is able to contend, it's able to box with that Kablammer, and it really allows Hanukkah to be able to secure that first point KO. That said, going into this round, it is a very different story, as without that Kablammer, Steelhead having a very easy time just constantly bombarding and blasting Hanukkah down with nade blast after nade blast, and has him quickly knocked into low.
Yeah, with that being said, though, that is why Kablammer Rush is so scary, because the only thing that could punch down a Kablammer rush is is another heavy rush. Nothing can punch through it though, because nothing is heavier than extra heavy, an arm that is +1 in rush.
That said, we are going to be going into this next round. A nice catch from Hanukkah, going to quickly set himself up with health lead and quickly trying to generate more rush. While it was important for Steelhead to throw out that rush before to be able to take that round, it does mean that Hanukkah is just going to be able to start this round off with a huge advantage, just burning through Steel's health and breaking through that grab. Steelhead losing the armor during that grab interaction and the explosion just interrupting that grab process.
And he finishes off with a huge health lead and with rush. So it's now 2-1, and Hanukkah
if he was any other character that had like consistent armor, he would have been fine there. But because he's Max Brass, during that grab interaction, he actually loses his armor until the grab has finished off, and then he regains that armor. Because of that, the explosion was able to interrupt his movement and gave Hanukkah the chance to quickly swing back into the fight and just destroyed Steelhead from there. And now Hanukkah has that advantage. He's got that ground, and that unfortunate exchange means that Steelhead now backed up against a wall. Hanukkah just looking for one more set to take the match and to advance to grand finals. Both players quickly trading off at the start of this bout, and Steelhead just finally securing himself a nice advantage, a little bit of ground to work with, as he's just looking to pressure Hanukkah as much as possible. The more lead, the more control he has, the better his odds are. Because as soon as he loses that buff, as soon as he loses that permacharge, it is just so much easier for Hanukkah to fight back. A nice shield break will allow him to buff up again, and Hanukkah's just only slightly dented him in his final hit, and you see exactly what I was talking about before.
He's learned from his past mistakes. He took the L.
Yeah, he's just gonna take it. So Steelhead only has a small handful of rush, and he's gonna try to utilize this rush pressure, but so far the nade's just kind of catching him out.
Now, if I were Hanukkah, I would not waste his rush, because rush pressure is so useful. But once Steel got that rush, that's what really could do. And now Steel is using that rush, knowing that Hanukkah is going to be really low, and grabs him in that corner. Nothing really he could have done there. And
Do we get the ice chain?
Yeah.
We do see some.
But
He does recognize that it would have been incredibly scary to try to keep playing against Hanukkah there, as it would have just gave Hanukkah so much rush generation. He does get the buff up, and he's going to be able to get the KO as a result.
And now he tied it up again, 2-2. They're so even. Next round is really what matters. But Steel does what I do. I just shield. I take the grab. I know it's coming. I have bad reaction time, so I just take it. It's better to take a grab than 3 punches and a grab,
Yeah, sometimes that's the best thing you can do. We are now 2 apiece. Steelhead quickly bringing that back under his control, but now we're in a position where Hanukkah gets to pick the stage. He's got full control over wherever. Well, not full control, but he's got a lot of opportunities. And with Via being a solid pick before, DNA Lab could be a really, really difficult place for Steelhead to work with. While he does get a chance to get that buff up build, also means that Hanukkah basically will just not be cornered for at least the first round, if not the second and maybe third. Which means that Hanukkah's going to have a lot of time, a lot of space to get these cool rain hits to really make some work. And Steelhead likely going to try to either utilize these pillars to buff up like we're seeing right now, or he's going to quickly burn them down once he recognizes that they're working out a little bit more for Hanukkah and allowing him an easy time at keeping Steel at bay.
Yeah, Twintel on DNA is a scary sight, since Twintel's usually play around the pillars, namely Luna Gabs.
That said, a good brass on DNA Lab is also exceptionally scary, especially when, like Steel, who is so good at playing a defensive play, making those good approaches and responses just like that one.
Yeah, there goes all the pillars on that side. Although Hanukkah does have a carving on him, so it is better to play around the pillar for Hanukkah than it is for Steel with the straight punch.
Nice dodge!
Wow. Actually insane. Hanukkah does have the rush or the health deficit, but a couple tri-blasts and a rush will take it for him.
And especially with this pillar quickly weakening out, Steelhead is running out of time, running out of options, is trying to just build some ground, but Hanukkah quickly catching him out on a lot of these plays. We do have Steel finally enraged, tries to jump out of the way, but it's too little too late. Hanukkah, match advantage, looking for one more win.
Even though he had 17 seconds, and even though he could have just used rush pressure to win.
Oh, this is rough. So Steelhead going to be able to buff up, but we're moving into this next round. Hanukkah is the one with both the pillars starting off. Steelhead is just in open field, so it's so... You can see Hanukkah just doing his best to try to stay away from the pillars until he sees Steel getting too close, trying to utilize it as a defensive option. That grab really helped him break one of those tubes, but now it's just an open field, one pillar remaining. Who's going to be able to take advantage of it?
Steel should have kept punching and rush, because that would have broken his shield right there if he just kept punching. I think he realized that, but it was too little too late.
There's also the attempt to bait out a response or a punish attempt.
Yeah, but I think in that case... was that a perfect?
No, it's not a perfect. We had chip damage.
Dang. I mean, I'm not supporting either one, but I do want to see a perfect sometime in this tournament. I don't care who.
I mean, I think we're too far. We might be a little too deep in to be seeing those perfects.
I mean, it was close right there. Never know.
Steel able to take that round puts him in a really good place too, because last time Hanukkah had that pillar advantage. This time Steel gets that advantage. And you see him quickly capitalize on it as he's got a very hearty lead right now. He's turned the table around. Hanukkah at 50% health. This is going to be a nice rush. This won't be a break, but it's going to be close.
It is looking very good for Steel. This is a very, very last match. It is 2-2 tied up in game as well.
But two trades with the Coolerang quickly evening this out. And Hanukkah still has a rush. If he lands it, that will put Steel at health even or deficit. Nice trade. The armor going to prevail there.
Through that. Absolutely.
Oh, and that is it. Hanukkah will not get his chance at revenge. A Steelhead wants his own shot at vengeance, as he'll take Hanukkah down 3-2, and will look to face off against Twin 5-0 in the Twin 5 Grand Finals.
There was an attempt.
Not really. There was no attempt there. That's just words that spill out of my mouth.
Yeah, it is 11:30 here. My brain is mush. If I remember correctly, Steelhead was knocked down to lowers by Twin.
Yeah, that's why it's the vengeance. It's vengeance time for Steel. He's looking for vengeance. But he did get Twin 3-0'd just a little bit ago. So we'll have to see if he's able to come up with a new trick, a new card underneath his sleeve to try to bring this back. Or if Twin's going to just outwit him yet again. Wonderful, wonderful words from Hanukkah. Good games from both.
So, how's your day, Maleev?
Let's not talk about my day.
No? Okay.
Nope. We're not going to talk about it. Instead, what? Don't mind me. It's fine. We're fine. Everything is okay. We've got Twin and Steelhead coming in for our grand finals match. Let's focus on that instead, because Twin was able to take Steel down 3-0. Curious to see if Steel's going to try to bring out a couple of different stages. Hanukkah coming in with the raid. Much love to you. After getting knocked out, he figured it's time to pack his bags and come home. And now he gets to watch Twin dance with Steel.
Yeah, if I was Steel right now, I'd be very afraid of Twin.
This is Steelhead we're talking about. He's got a head of steel. He doesn't understand. Fear doesn't really work for him.
True, but I mean, I don't think no matter who you are, getting 3-0'd less than an hour ago is pretty terrifying.
I mean, it can be a little intimidating, but it also just gives you that more of that drive to be like, all right, that didn't work out, but let's just come back in and let's just win it this time instead. It can be intimidating, but it's also like, you know the thing, determination.
Yeah.
You feel it. You feel yourself with it sometimes. You get a glass of determination. You stay hydrated. You swig it down. And now you've got that energy to take down your greatest foe. What's your greatest foe, Svenjo? Pancakes?
What's my greatest? What?
Tarantulas? What's your greatest foe?
Oh, my greatest foe? Tri-Blast. I hate that thing.
Tri-Blast? That's a fair one.
Not even in my arms career, my entire life is Tri-Blast.
You're just doing a test, and it's just like you're trying to write something down with your pen, and then a Tri-Blast just comes and knocks the pen out of your hand. You're like, ah!
Exactly. Somebody understands.
I was doing a test. Min, why? And then she just says something about ramen, and you're like, but I'm doing a test! I'm not hungry! You're walking home from school, and you try to get on the bus, and then
Helix pops out with double Tri-Blast, and I'm like, bro, what the hell? And he responds with Helix noises. And
then he Tri-Blasts the bus down, and the bus explodes. You're like, I needed that to go home!
Dude,
Helix.
all my friends just died. Thanks, Helix.
Why did you kill my friends and ruin my trip home?
Flash, I do hate rings, but Tri-Blast is worse.
Tri-Blast blew up his bus. Rings didn't blow up his bus.
Tri-Blast killed my entire clan. My mom is dead because of Tri-Blast.
No, your mom's fine, but your ninja clan, that's destroyed. No ninjas anymore.
I like to think my life is like Shenmue, but instead it's like all Tri-Blast.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Yeah, Trablast killed my dad.
I mean, otherwise it could be a Biffler, which we are going to be seeing here. Which,
Oh lordy.
yeah, this is a little scary too. It can be very intimidating.
Would have never seen that coming.
I mean, it's worked well up to this point. No reason for him to change away from it. Steel trying to find a way to get in against this clown. This arguably is a good stage against Lillipup. But just like that talk I had about Dastardly being really good in Viadosh before, a lot of people take Twin to the stage, and he's just kind of learned how to be like, oh, so this is my stage now. I've decided I'm going to own it, and I'm going to destroy you in it, because it's now my stage, and you're not allowed to take me here.
The Dendy Rush, if you will.
An excellent rush confirm off of that. But Steel does have that enrage. He's got that buff up as a result, and he's trying to find a way in, but Twin's just gonna slap him down with a nice grab.
Steel should keep this rush, and he does. Till next round. Twin only having about 50% rush.
Out comes the rush. He sees his chance, and he's going to be able to secure 300 damage, starting off with that lead. But he's going to have to quickly back off again. He only has a light lead, but Twin's just pressure, just like the fear factor that Twin can provide, and just devastating damage that he can lead in. If Steel's not respecting his range and abilities, it just is devastating. Good call-outs, though, from Steel, just playing this patiently, keeping his eyes nice, peeled, and open, and trying to build up a rush for another chance to charge in. He does have it ready, and we're going to see him try to close in that distance, set himself up for a nice rush opportunity, maybe some grab damage on top of that. Nice dodge from Twin, but it's not going to be a nice rush.
Twin knew that that explosion was coming, and he quickly skedaddled out of that blast. But not looking too hot for Twin.
Oh, maybe a little hotter now that he got the freeze into grab combo and Steel is on the last hit.
Absolute beast. And Twin takes it. The first match of the best of 5, or the first set. Yeah, first set.
Yeah.
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 I know.
Cobra's high. Yeah.
Dude, if only we were streaming on your channel, I have like 1,500 channel saved up for Kid Cobra.
Well, tough luck for you, pal. You don't get to.
Flesh brings up a good point. A coil-free final. I think this is a coil-free bracket, actually.
Nope, there was coil in this bracket.
Who?
Reister.
Don't.
Coil's a cool character. It's fine if she's there.
Yeah, I think it's fine if she's there. I think, for a while, a lot of people hated on her because of she was everywhere, but now I think, not as much. And a lot of people don't understand the hate of Coil, and that's because Coil is really only used at a very, very top echelon of like top players, because it's just so hard to understand her. A lot of people have her as like a pocket, but it's really only at the top level where she gets annoying because she's just used so much. Well, she was. I don't know about anymore, because we see people like Twin using Lola and Steel using Max Grass and plenty of other
these
stuff
people
there
have
is
always
not
been saying Twin using Lola like he's the solution to Coil. No, it's just Twin. He plays Lola Pop. Steel just plays Brass. It's like saying Lulu plays Mechanica. It's like, yes.
Yeah, Coil might be the quote-unquote meta according to some people, but she's very rarely used. There's so many players that don't use her.
It's just, a lot of it is because a lot of us are kind of buttheads, and we're like, I like this character though. I don't care that Mechanica is like mid-high or mid-low tier. I like Mechanica, so I'm gonna play her. Or I like Brass because he's cool and he gets buff and he has a cool steel color. Or
yeah,
I like Noodle
Coil
Pop with
on
Biffler.
paper might be broken, but that doesn't mean you're gonna use her. That doesn't mean you're gonna take the time to use her.
Probably should.
Should, but you won't. I mean, I won't.
I can see a world where I could be convinced to play Coil.
Eh.
But I can also see a
Alright.
world where Twin's gonna take this first round and sets himself
Yes,
back
the
with the advantage.
segue. You know you're a great commentator when you can like segue literally anything.
No, I can't. That was like a mediocre one, and then you brought us back out of it. So now I'm gonna have to try to drag us back in, like Steel is gonna try to drag himself back into this match. As too quickly starting off with advantage and punishing away his rush!
Wow. Uh-oh, what was that on Steel's part? He kind of just went a little AFK there.
Oh, a nice rush there.
This
345 damage.
might be the perfect that I was talking about.
Nope.
Darn, I want to see on Twin's Twitter the clip. But he does take it with that Dragon Laser. Dragon is just so good on Mausoleum because when that trampoline is up, it is so good because it just... It goes across the entire stage.
It's a royal pain to try to come after it. And yeah, it just forces that range.
In some cases, you have to jump in order to avoid it. Or you have to shield, and that could lead to a punish, like a grab when you're shielding, or a rush if you jump. Alright, so it seems they are going to... or not. They might not be going anywhere. We're
gonna go to a name attack.
We're going to Snake Park, ladies and gents. Let's go. Snake Park Grand Final. Oop, oop.
It looks like we're gonna be heading back to Mausoleum for one final go. Especially with Steel just saying how Buster Beach didn't work. I understand the reasoning why he's going here. And I agree with it. This is probably one of his better stages to work with. It's just, can he make it work?
Yes,
that's what we're going to be seeing here as Twin is starting off with a very strong opening again, getting a freeze follow-up off of the Dragon Head. That's not even the first time we've seen Steel or Twin do that in these tournament matches, where he's just hit his opponent point blank with the Dragon, not even the laser, just the head bapping them in the face, and then him following up with something.
Blindly grabbing, and that did not work out so well for Steel. Steel and losers, by the way, he'll need to win 6 more matches against Twin in order to win this grand finals.
But not only does he need to he could come back in this round, but he would need to, he's just gonna take.
No?
Yeah, he's gonna. But he needs, not only does he need to make a comeback in, like, the next round he needs to be able to take it here and now, and he is going in hard desperation. We've got double kablammers. This is hard to read and call out City. This will overpower a lot of Twin's attacks, but if he's not making the right reads, if he's not making the right calls, these kablammers will just be made fools. That rush was so good, but he just
Steel has given up. I do believe.
No, he's still trying.
Well, trying is a kind word to use.
He's making an effort here.
He's making a very low effort. Double kablammer, barely moving.
No, like this is such this is a loadout where if he makes any bad call, he gets punished. So he's trying to play patiently. He's trying to keep his eye open. And he's trying to utilize these arms without making himself too open, and that doesn't really happen against Twins.
It was so funny to hear you seriously commentate somebody trying to just throw a match.
I love the horse just off the beach, and he's just there. It says, man.
Can we get a translation?
We are now done the tournament. Congratulations to Twin 5-0 for once again 3-0ing Steelhead and just taking him down. Unfortunately, Steel just not able to find the right answer, unable to make the right. unable to make the right call to try to take Twin down, and with that, we'll have to settle for second place.
Yeah, a very anticlimactic grand finals to say the least, or at least the very last round. But thank you to everyone who participated. Everyone did a great job. Everyone's awesome. You specifically are awesome. Man. But in all seriousness, thank you to Low Kick Esports to hosting this. It's not common to see an already established esports org come in and give us the love, the ARMS community, the love that Low Kick has given us. So thank you so much to them.
Much love to Berta, or Bryce, as some might know him, the TO and organizer who made this thing run and got me to join in the stuffs. And yeah, thanks for the...
Jeez.
Sorry. But yeah, much thanks to him for getting this running. Good tournament. Much fun was had. Oh, God. Well, with that, we are all said and done. Again,
I'm gonna hop in and say one more thing. Not this one, not this one, not this one, this one. Before anyone goes, if you would like, this is the Smatcherino page right here in the chat. There's a code you can use. You click this little sign-in button and you can sign in with like any social media. We had like a how-to video to run, but I forgot to download it in time. But you basically just go on the site and you can sign in with social media, and then you just use a code. You can give a free 50-cent like contribution to the pot, and there's like sponsor quests on the side. So just quick, like I feel like I don't see enough people use these, which is, it's so nice to do. But other than that, support all the other ARMS things that you'll see here on the screen. So many of these. I had no idea that these many events were in. I thought there were like maybe 3.
Things kind of exploded. It kind of exploded with Min and
yeah.
Quarantine changed a lot.
Check out
people are bored.
Those dudes are cool. Anyone that you guys recommend for me to raid right now?
Oh, let me see who is live on my side of
someone
things.
Else streaming ARMS. Let's go.
Yeah, let's
Hypocrite GG.
Hypocritic GG.
Let's go cancel them.
Yeah.
You want to do that.
But yeah, follow our Twitter, ARMS Nice. Thank you to everyone. Everyone in the universe.
Our Twitter? No, I don't own your Twitter.
Our combined Twitter.
No.
Planet Spenjo.
No, I don't like this. Just follow Planet Scrapstar. Like, you can find, if you want to find me, if you think I'm cool, or you're interested in like trans rights or whatever, like just Google search Planet Scrapstar or Malieve. You'll either come across Soap or you'll come across me. It's like one or the other.
Soap?
Very specific.
Soap, alright.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure they'll say this, but thanks for watching. But
thank you. Yes, thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching and participating. ARMS Nice.
ARMS Nice.